Welcome to Mendezville Live, where it's something to talk about. Here is Rudy Mendez. What's going on, Mendezville? Welcome to Mendezville Live. Hey, today we got a special guest. Hey, and let's not waste any time. Let's not waste any time with my man. He's currently the head cross country and track head coach at Donna North. He's got 6 state titles. He was my former coach back in the day. My man, Basilio Mendoza. Welcome to the show, man. How you doing?
Hey, I'm doing good. How about yourself, Rudy? It's a pleasure to be with you, especially you're doing awesome. Knowing that you're my ex-athlete, a basketball player,
Good
and
times.
more importantly, you're a hell of a good person.
Good. Thank you for that, Coach. And that's why I reached out to you, because I think I'm on a quest with Mendezville Live and talking about politics, talking about sports, talking about coaching, and just learning from experience. And I know you have a lot of experience over the course, a lot of success. And I want to talk a little about what you owe to your success, different stories we can learn from, stuff like that. So I know, seeing that I haven't been around you since I graduated high school. I know when I met you, I was a sophomore, and that was '97 at La Jolla High School. What were you doing? Let's start from there, and we'll just go and we'll just nitpick from your experiences. What were you doing there at that time?
Well, I actually got into coach. Coach, I think a year before you were there, 2 years before you. Coach actually dropped out of coaching, and he didn't want to coach. I mean, he saw those guys. I mean, they were pretty bad. He saw those, and his name was Calvin Mayfield, and he was also a teacher just like I was. And when we went to coaching, he was my next door neighbor, and I was just a teacher. And so we went to check out his students, his athletes, and they were pretty bad, And the guy, I told him, "Hey, man, good luck. You're gonna need it." So I left back to my classroom, and about 3 days later, he tells me, "Hey, Mr. Mendoza, I quit basketball." I'm like, "What are you talking about, man? You can't quit. You haven't even tried it." That's how I started. I was just a teacher, ESOL teacher, English teacher, and then I like watching. I've always been an athlete my whole entire. And I'd go to basketball games and just watch, but I never.
You're lagging,
Freeze
Coach.
weather?
Yeah, it's freezing a little bit.
Huh? Okay.
You're freezing a little bit.
Okay, maybe I gotta go inside. Hold on. My internet is better inside.
Go for it. I'll just keep telling. I'll tell a story of while you go. I'll get you off. I'm gonna get you off. I'll bring you back in here a bit. Just keep walking. I'm just gonna mute your mic. I'm just gonna mute your mic while you go. So I brought Coach Mendoza in. Reached out to him because, man, this guy has some good stories. Great motivator, and I think it's good to learn from experienced guys. As a matter of fact, I'm one of those guys that in a few weeks I'm trying to get this guy. His name's Alan Gonzalez, a former athlete of mine. But see, I'm a fan of knowledge, and this guy. He's 21, 22 years. Actually, I think he just turned 21. But while Coach Mendoza gets settled, I want to learn from him because he's working for UTSA Strength and Conditioning Program. So I'm on a quest of knowledge, of learning from everybody, getting points of views. And I know Coach has been around. He's got some state titles. He's been in the political game and school boards and different schools from Valley View and all this stuff. So we'll touch base on that. But the quest is here for knowledge. So you're good, Coach. All right, let's see. Let's bring you back in.
Yeah, we're good.
Go for it. Talk to me.
Yeah, so I just
clear.
I just basically started off being a teacher. I never thought I'd be a coach. It never crossed my mind until this basketball coach quit, and then nobody wanted to coach a team basketball, and it's my first love. And when they told me, "Hey, you want to try basketball?" I'm like, heck yeah. And I told the coach, and the coach kind of looked at me like, do you know basketball? And I'm like, what? Because the other guy was black. He's a black guy, African-American and good guy. And I'm like, well, do I have to be black to know basketball or what? So he kind of looked at me like, oh, it's that, and the rest is history, you know. And
Yeah.
here I am, 20 years later.
Yeah. All right,
I've been
Coach.
teaching for 30.
30 years. All right, but you were at Finley because see, I got to go to Indiana State for my master's work in the Midwest. You were in Ohio.
I was in Ohio at the time. Yeah.
Yeah, hey, basketball's big, man. I always liked
It's huge.
basketball, but man, bro, the Midwest is something else, man.
Hey, you got Xavier, Ohio. You got Ohio State. You got Indiana. You got
Man.
Notre Dame.
Yeah,
You got
yeah.
Illinois. You
The
got
Fighting Illini, yeah.
Syracuse.
Hell
The Fighting,
yeah, yeah.
man, you got everybody. So we got to
Everything's
see
around
all
there.
that stuff.
Yeah, man. I'll tell you what. One of our running arguments is I'm for basketball players make better football players than football players make better basketball players. But the objective is to get an athlete to play both instead of coaches hoarding their players for both basketball and football. It's like, hey, if you're good, go play it. But coming from the Midwest, I always share that story where I had this defensive end or linebacker, and he was hooping. I mean, man, I was just like, wow, basketball is something else over the Midwest. So did you run for Finley when you were out there?
Yeah, I ran for Finley. I ran track, cross country. I was gonna play a little ball, but the track coach got a little upset with me, and I mean I wasn't. It was a NAIA school, so I could have really played if I wanted to.
Yeah.
But I would have lost a little bit more on the other side. But I think I would have been okay, you know, because I mean at my height I'm not too tall, and I could at the time I could dunk, I could touch a glass, I could touch, you know, it's pretty decent. I was a much better basketball player, I thought, than I was a runner, but the problem with me was they felt I was too short, so I was like,
No,
you know.
it happens, you know, the curse of the Hispanic short guy. I mean, I know all about it. I'm only 5'8", so it happens. So you're at La Jolla. How many years were at La Jolla?
I was in La Jolla 10 years.
Because when you were there, I don't remember you being a cross-country coach. I remember you being a basketball coach, and you'd volunteer your cross-country time.
Yeah, I volunteered for 5 years in cross-country.
Yeah.
And I think my last year I was there, I mean, we had a pretty good basketball team. I mean, I remember, we had some, the times back in the 90s were super competitive compared to what they are now. We're very competitive. I know when you were there, when Braulio, when Montalvos were there, and now it looks like, oh, you know what? I don't want to sweat too much, or, you know, I don't want to run. Me duele, you know, everything hurts. So it's changed a little bit. Yeah, but I was there before, and we had a really good season. So I was actually, they actually recruited me to go to Valley View for basketball.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So
But I volunteered.
Yeah. When you left La Jolla, were you coaching cross country and track, or you?
No, I wasn't coaching cross country, but somebody, one of the coaches that was there, you know, because I had been volunteering for 5 years. Once in a while, I'd get a burger. You know, I never got in a bus with them, and I would do a lot of the dirty work for the coach. I would go pick up the kids, drop them off after the meets. I would take them home, and which I loved. I didn't care. I never asked for $1. I never asked for a cent. Even in basketball, I did the same thing. And when they opened up an assistant position for cross country, I thought to myself, you know what, I can do cross country before the basketball season, you know, and then do basketball, and I can get my basketball players to run cross country, which coincidentally I took them to a bunch of meets, and I would tell them, "Nombre, I'm gonna give you pizza afterwards. Don't worry about it." So that's the way I'd get them to cross country meets.
I was one of those guys. I fell for that. I felt like, what? We're gonna run 2 miles. I think I went to like 2 meets. I was like, man, this ain't for me, man. Hey,
but you see, my job was, but imagine if you guys could have ran for 3 miles, really good. So I've always thought outside the box, and I brought coach a lot of kids. And then when he got the opportunity, because before he never had an assistant coach because there was just never a position open. So when it opened up, I really honestly thought he was going to ask me since I volunteered for 5 years.
Yeah.
And he didn't. And then he was asking everybody but me. And so I remember, I think it was Ronnie Cabrera, soccer coach, or one of them, said, "Hey, coach, what are you asking us for? Why don't you ask Basilio? You know, he's the one that's been with your kids the whole time," because I was with them all the time.
Yeah,
kids.
I mean, we all knew you were the guy there training and running with them.
And the coach, because at this point in time, I had already been, Toro Martinez from Mission High had already approached me, "Hey, let's go to Valley View to coach basketball." And I'm like, "Valley View? Hell no, it's a 3A school. What do I want to do in Valley View?" You know? Yeah. And then I said, "Let me think about it, coach." So what I was trying to do, I was trying to see if Coach Reyna would have, if he would have let me be the assistant coach. I never wanted to be a head coach. You know, that was never my intention. I was not there here. I just wanted to be part of something. So when I went to, when I asked him, finally I asked him, "Hey, coach, I wouldn't mind being the assistant coach," you know? Man, the response I got was pretty, I mean, like, what? I mean, it was like to the point where it just really pissed me off, and I left freaking La Jolla. The guy said to me, Coach Basilio, you don't know shit about running." I'm like, What did you say, coach? I'm like, "Well, while you've been fishing every summer, I've been running with your kids. Because you guys haven't gone to state. You barely started enjoying going to state here, you know, recently."
Right.
And man, that let me tell you something, Rudy. When they insult you like that, when somebody insults you like that, for me, what happens is, man, it lights a fire under my ass like nothing else. And it's still lit, you know, because that guy.
What year was that?
That was my last year I was there. It was 10 years. I started 89, about 2000, 99, 2000.
Yeah.
That was about the last year.
No, I think that's when it was, because I remember coming back during Christmas break and hooping at Valley View, because you said, "Hey, come and hoop come and hoop over here."
Yeah.
I still remember that. So yeah, it was the year after I graduated. Man.
Exactly. Yeah, and man, he pissed me off, and I felt so insulted. And then I called Toro Martinez. "Hey, Toro, what's up, man?" So if the Valley View AD gives me the cross country job, and give it, I'm coming in, man. I'm going with you. "Oh, are you sure, Basilio? Es todo, vato. Es todo." I said, "Okay, let's do it." So then I remember coming back to Coach Reyna and telling him, "You know, Coach Reyna, you insulted the shit out of me. So I'm gonna go. I already been hired at another school, and I'm gonna come back and show you what real coaching is all about. Not talent, coaching. You're gonna see a difference between that." And I know the guy asked me, "What school? What school? What school?" Finally, I told him Valley View. Nambe, he laughed. He laughed and laughed and laughed. He had all the reason to laugh. You know, Valley View, we're La Jolla 5A, powerhouse, blah, 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 blah. So, está bueno. So I said, "Okay, well, we'll see you down the road, dog. We'll see you down the road."
Yeah.
So I left over there, and I didn't see him the first year. The second year, the first year I was an assistant coach to this other guy. And then the second year I became the coach. And I remember we would be in a little round table, like all the coaches there. There wasn't very many of us. It was like, you can get 5 of us or 6 of us. And the AD would go around, and a round table would go around and ask him, "What's your goal for the year, coach? And what's your goal for the year? And what's your goal for the year? And what's your goal?" You know, so we'd go around. And I thought to myself, I mean, those are some pathetic goals, you know? I mean, I want to win 5 games. Like, what? I want to win a game. What? I want to have a full team. What? I mean, it was just so pathetic. It's like, oh, so when they came to me, I was the last guy. They asked me, "What's your goal, Coach Mendoza?" And my goal was very different from theirs. Now, my goal was to win the state championship. Can you imagine? That guy wanted to win a game. That other girl wanted to win 3 games. The other guy, you know what I mean? And the other guy, hopefully. So when I said state championship, they all bursted out laughing. I mean, they bursted out laughing, dog. I mean, like, se rieron todos de mí. And I'm like, I don't remember saying a joke, you know?
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Ah, está bueno." And I said, "Hey, that's fine. Yeah, you have your goals. I have mine." So then after the first year, we ended up getting second at state.
Second
runner-up.
state.
Yeah, state runner-up.
State runner-up.
State runner-up. And then we came back again to the little round table at the beginning of the summer. Oh, yeah. And okay, what's your goal? What's your goal? And I was the last one again. And there they go with their little pathetic, goals. And I'm like, oh my God. So they asked me, and I'm like, well, we got second at state. We almost won it, so I want to win the state championship. Now, nobody laughed.
No, but
no. And that's when I asked, I'm like, oh, shit, you guys aren't going to laugh this time? Because the deal was, Coach, come on. You don't need, there's not even a cross-country team. There's not even kids here. Yeah. We don't have kids. And I'm like, well, that's why you hired me. That's my job, to find those kids. And we did, and we won the state championship.
Let me, I don't know how prevalent, I'm going to ask you two questions. Let's rewind a little bit before we continue with your career, and then we'll get into a bunch of other stuff. While you were at La Jolla, how good, because this is what I know, and I'm very ignorant in the sense that I remember preseason and in the spring, I would go and run with you guys a little bit. Mm-hmm. Knowing what I know now, I was doing the wrong thing, but I got to see Ruben, the super freshman run. How good was that guy?
Okay, so this is how good that guy. You mean Ruben Hernandez?
Yeah, from La Jolla. I tried keeping up with him once. I said, you know what? I'm going to keep up with this guy. See, I didn't even last 100 yards. I was like, man.
Well, that guy went to state every year. He was a 2-time regional champ, And you go back to, there you go. That was my first state taste at a state meet.
Right.
Taking all those kids, and then me not being allowed to go on a bus with them because, I'm the one with them the whole summer. All summer long. And so, it's okay, And so that kid, I remember his sophomore year or junior year, he played soccer. Let me tell you how good he was. He played soccer, and he got his knee. They kicked his knee, so he couldn't play soccer no more. So when we come to track, and I was on the track staff, and I remember Coach Reyna, or this is before the whole, Coach Reyna says, hey, you got Ruben. And I already ran with Ruben. Coach Reyna didn't know him that well at the time. And I'm like, oh, I got Ruben? Okay, Ruben. Okay. He goes, you coach him. Nambe, he was limping like crazy, like a broken leg. I'm like, oh, chinga, what's wrong with you? Nambe, coach, it's because I got hit my knee. Me pegaron en la rodilla, bien gacho. I'm like, really? Let me see. Oh, man, it was pretty bruised. And I'm like, okay. And then coach just looked at me like, kind of like, what are you going to do with him? So he kind of pretty much forgot about him. And I told him, I said, Coach, so what do you want me to do with him? You want me to coach him or what? He goes, you can do whatever you want with him. I said, okay, I'm going to do whatever I want with him. Okay, got it. So he was my main guy. And of course, I coached other kids in the mornings and stuff. So what I did with him, I coached him in a swimming pool the entire track season. And there was some days it got cold, in January, estaba frío.
Yeah.
So I coached them in the deep end in the La Jolla pool, and we were there. And because I have it's called an aqua vest, so it makes you float in the deep end, and that's what they use, for horses when they want to not pound on the ground. So I put them in a deep end, and we're running, and I give them workouts. Let's go, boom, boom, boom. So the whole entire year we trained in the pool, the deep end. So towards the end of the year, towards the end of the track season, I said, okay, Ruben, we need to run on the track because we haven't run on the track at all. And you need to get that feeling in the track,
Yeah.
Okay, coach. So then he started doing a little lap or two, a little strides here and there. So long story short, we go to district, and I said, hey, Ruben, just stay in the middle and then move up. So the first lap, he's dead ass last, like, oh, man. I was like, Ruben, you got to move up. I was one of the pickers, And I was picking 6 or something like that. I'm like, no, this kid's going to be number 1. He's going to win. And that guy's never ran the whole year. Doesn't matter. He's going to win. Well, by the middle of the race, he was already in top 5. By the end of the race, last lap to go, he was in the top 2. The gun goes off him, and he takes off. He must have hit about a 62 quarter. Because I think that cannon, whatever it was, scared the crap out of him, and he took off. He's like, oh, shit. Yeah. It was really loud. He ended up winning. We went to regionals. He won, and then we went all the way to states on one leg.
Damn, man.
So he was pretty good. Yeah.
That's intense.
Yeah, that's intense. Yeah, that kid was good. And here's the problem. When Coach Reina told me, he told me, I don't want you with my kids no more. I said, Achia, so why not? So Ruben was not the greatest academic kid in the world, you know? So I was hoping I could help him out, and I said, okay, you know what? I'm just gonna stay back, and he ended up not going to college, or he ended up going to college, I think, and then he got out, and he needed a lot of help academically.
Is that what held him back? The grades?
Yeah, the grades. Yeah,
Going through academics?
yeah, academically he was not very stable. So I was like,
Yeah, man, those are tough stories when you're so gifted and talented athletically, but you just can't make those grades.
yeah, and I mean, I mean, if you go to Vince Castillo, when he's one of my state champions in Donna, he was taking Mickey Mouse classes, and I told him, hey, you need to get out of those classes because you're gonna go D1, man. So we actually got him out of those classes, got him into more advanced classes, but he was like a second or third generation athlete / high school graduate. So parents were aware of all this academics and stuff. And in Ruben's case, parents were on survival mode,
Yeah. All right, so you go to Valley View, you do state. So you didn't do any basketball while you were out there, or no?
Yeah. I was a JV basketball coach. We won district every year. I was there 4 years as a JV coach, and every year they would say no, I said nah, we blow them out. We blow everybody out, and then my kids that ran cross country were on the basketball team, So it was the best of both worlds for them because they would come out and man, they were like fierce. They were all over the court because they were fit. And can you imagine state champions and then going out to the basketball court? And I think we went about 3 or 4 deep in the playoffs while I was there.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right, were you there in La Jolla when Benny Gomez was there?
Yes, I was there in La Jolla when Benny Gomez was a little lefty.
Yeah, because I think I'm gonna bring him on this podcast one of these days because you know how baseball's really big in La Jolla, and I always tell people, I'm like, well, the best guy I've known from La Jolla, one of the best is Benny Gomez, and he was in basketball class the whole time during the school year. He never went to baseball until after school, until the season started.
Yeah,
because you know how people want to hoard kids, or parents are like, well, no, he's a baseball player. I'm like, well, Benny Gomez threw 93 lefty. He almost, just because he threw out his shoulder back at, whatever, he was in the AAA. He was one season away from going to the majors.
Yeah.
He was more of a basketball player during school than he was a baseball player.
Yeah. And then, I'm glad you brought the word hoard players, hoard athletes. Coaches need to understand that is not your kid. That is not your player, There was a kid in Mission High School. They called him Braveheart. It was a football kid. It was about 4'10". His back was huge, and everybody's got to be like Braveheart. The kid is not gonna play football in the next level. Why don't you let him do something he can do, like wrestling or
something like that.
Because you go by weight, you don't go by size or height.
Yeah.
And these coaches, especially football, they don't want to let that kid out. I guess everybody does it. Football, basketball, like me and cross country, we run the whole cross country season. Summer, and then we go to cross country, and then from there, once cross country is over, I said, okay, where do you want to go? Pick something. I don't want you sitting around here doing nothing. So I sent them to wrestling. I sent them to weightlifting. I sent them to baseball, whatever it is. I sent them somewhere.
They have to
they got to do something because if you look at soccer players, and football players, they're athletes only 3 months out of the year.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And then for 9 months, okay, ¿dónde están?
Yeah.
So 9 months, so 6 months, they're not being competitive. So how are you going to close the competitive gap?
Man, and you know what? I'm glad you touched that because it gives me an opportunity to kind of chime in on my philosophy on why I think let's just say football players or baseball players or any athlete.
Yeah.
Yeah, you need to be active, especially your freshman and sophomore year.
Yeah.
Because, like you said, you're active. Let's just say football. You're active for 3 months, and then your brain. There's two things that happen to it while you're playing basketball or something else.
Yeah.
You're being pushed to hold your composure, handle the stress of being coached, make decisions on the court or
Yep.
wrestling, whatever it may be. Plus, the neuromuscular of it, your body gets stronger and faster because you're competing. Your adrenaline, all these scientific, biological things that occur, you're gonna get better because you're actively competing.
Exactly.
And then when you go to baseball or you go back to football, you already dealt with the 3.5 months of basketball of going through that mental grind. My thing is, it's more of a mental grind. Because I mean, to me, lifting weights, if you lift weights correctly for 3 to 4 months, you're gonna be where you're gonna be. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I had Adán Montalvo on this podcast the other day, and he told me he went football class. After football season was over, he would change his schedule to go to basketball class. After the basketball season was over, he would change his class back to football class, where the strength and conditioning and endurance training, while doing track after school. And I'm like, man, that's a perfect schedule for anyone who's a
I think
a 3 sport athlete.
Exactly. And a lot of times, a lot of your better athletes won't do 3 sports. They only do 1 sport or maybe 2 sports,
They would be so much better. I think they would be so much better.
Yeah. And the only way they'll do it is if the only way that, for example, a football coach is going to push track is if he's the head football coach. I mean, he's a head track coach. So they try to do that. But if the head track coach, football coach is not in track, then he's going to be, well, I don't know, I don't know. And I mean, that's where all these, if you're competitive year round, in different situations, you can grind out more versus a kid that's only a basketball player, only a crossing runner, only a baseball player, only, man, you're never going to close the gap. The only way you're going to close the gap against the schools from the north side of past the Falfurias is by getting your athletes all to compete all the time, year round.
Yeah, and I think I'm on that quest to talk to more people like that and more former athletes that were, 3 sport athletes.
Yeah.
But I think that's where we're at, man. What's up with that? So you go to Valley View, you win a state title. No, you get state runner up.
Yeah.
And then what happens?
State runner up. We got everybody coming back. We have a great summer. We win the state championship the following year.
That. No big
just
deal.
like that. No big deal. Everybody graduates, and then we win an individual state championship with one kid who holds the state record for 3A.
Nice.
Still, I think he still has the state record on the state course. Ernesto Perales, a dog. Yeah, and let me tell you something. NXN, Nike Cross Nationals, when Ernesto Perales ran as a freshman sophomore, this kid was in the top 5. Okay, top 5. He beat out guys from 5 different states. He beat out state champions from 3 or 4 different conference categories. Like he beat out the 3A, the 4A, and the 5A guys. And he would have been going to nationals if Nike South at the time had a national title. So these kids were fierce. They didn't. I mean, I instill. Don't be afraid of anybody. Fear is only an illusion. It's only in your mind. If it's in your heart, then don't expect to win. If you're gonna play with fear, we're not gonna do anything. So we ended up winning there, and then the following year, everybody graduates except for about 2 or 3. So everybody graduates. We go back to, and then we go back to a little round table.
Yeah.
What's your goal? What's your goal? And I told them my goal is to, they're still with their pathetic goals. Well, actually they got a little bit better. And then they asked me, "What's your goal, coach?" And I said, "Well, I'm gonna go and defend the state championship." And hombre, you should have seen. I'm like, "What?" Coach, everybody graduated. What are you talking about? I said, but you got to be planting seeds. I've been planting seeds for 4 years now. What makes you think they're not going to be able to? They're going to be ready. It's tradition.
And you know what gets me about that comment you just made? When people tell me, why graduate everybody? Yeah. Or I already lost the guys that played a lot of little league. Well, for example, baseball.
Yeah.
Or I'm like, well, you have them for 4 years.
Yeah.
What are you doing with those guys for 4 years?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? If you're a hell of a coach, well, you have them in freshman year, sophomore year, junior year, and this goes across the valley, across the state.
Yeah.
You should be able to develop a program. I mean, that's my personal view. I don't know. I mean, like you said, you graduate people, but that doesn't mean we're rebuilding. You have your guys coming up.
Yeah. Yeah. Like last year we went to state. I mean, we were a 5A conference. We almost won a state championship as 5A school. We got second in state in Donna North, and then we go to 6A, and then people are telling my kids, welcome to the big dogs, and my kids are like, chinga, we don't see no big dogs. Where are the big dogs? And I'm like, talking smack to each other, and then we go there to 6A and we win district, and then we get, I think, 6th or 7th at regionals. The following year we win district again, and then we made it to state. We had a bad day at regionals, but we still made it to state. And I tell people, because people are like, oh, they don't understand, and they're like, oh, it's just cross country. Like, well, you know what? If your football teams could just pass the checkpoint, if they could just pass the checkpoint, you guys be throwing parties all over the place, Yeah. And I tell them, look. So I had to put it like this. So sometimes I don't say regional, so I don't say state. I say we're in the playoffs, just because of pure ignorance people have. Because if I say the playoffs, because they don't understand.
Right.
District and regionals and state. So I told them we had to eliminate every single 6A in the Rio Grande Valley. Think about that, Rudy. Every single 6A that had been 6A forever, we came in from a 5A school. We eliminated everybody, right? Yeah. As us, we had to eliminate every single 6A in Laredo. Man. We had to eliminate every 6A, with the exception of 3 teams in San Antonio. Imagine San Antonio. There's a lot of schools, a lot of 6As. Yeah. We eliminated 90% of them, and then anything in West Texas, over there by Eagle Pass, all that area, we also eliminated them to get to the state championships.
Man, so
think about it. That's a lot of freaking schools that you have to go through to eliminate them on that one day with no timeouts.
They just got to know what they're doing. They got to be well trained, I guess.
Yeah, they got to be. Say no, just go home, man.
All right, so you were that's in Donna North. So you were at state. You were at Valley View.
Yeah.
And then where'd you end up after that?
I went to Mission High.
Oh, you were in Mission for a little while.
Yeah, Mission High. That was probably the worst paying place I've ever been to in my life.
They actually getting paid pretty well this upcoming year.
Yeah, that's what I heard. Thank God. Yeah, I'm happy for all those people that are getting paid, man.
Yeah, they're getting paid fairly well this upcoming year. So you go Valley View. How well did you do in Mission?
Yeah, we also.
Huh?
Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
How well did you do in Mission?
Well, we also went to state, and we ended up getting. I had one. We went 4 years there, 4 years state. So we went to state 4 years, all 4 years. Well, not with a team, but individuals.
Yeah.
And then we had one guy that almost won the state championship in track. So he got third at states, and we had another state medal. So to get in the podium, Rudy, it's a 0.01% chance.
Yeah. So you go to Valley View, you go to state, you go to Mission, you go to state.
4 years. Yeah.
And where do you end up after Mission?
Mission, I went to Palmview High School.
Oh, snap! You came back.
Came back.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh, that gets interesting because you've lived in Palmview. How long have you lived there where you live now?
Man, I live here. I've lived here, since about 15, 16 years now in this house. So it's about close to, maybe 20.
So you've always been in the La Jolla School District then, huh?
Yeah,
Living wise.
I've always been around here because I married a coyotita. So so I ended up staying in this area because
Yeah.
of that, or else I would have gone back home.
Back to the Bears, PSJA,
Puro oso
Puro
venenoso.
Tri-City Bomber.
There you go. What's up?
With the sirens, you grew up with those sirens?
I grew up with the sirens all the time, man. You know, you could always hear them every.
I think
Yeah.
that's one of the first places that my dad and mom lived when we moved in from Houston or Mexico, one of the two. I got to live there for a year.
For you, yeah, I like those.
Oye, so Palmview, ¿qué onda ahí? What's up with that?
So Palmview, we go to state also, and we that's where Felipe. I left, of course, but I had been working with him. He got 2 state titles, and then Ivan Villanueva got another state top 10, and then Michael Guerrero, even though he was not from Palmview, I still coached him. Got a 6 at state, and then Hueso Jaime, we call him Hueso, but Jose Jaime got another top 10 at state. So in there, so I guess it's one. Let me see, it's Ivan, Hueso, Michael. So about 5 state rings there.
Wait, coach. So how many years were you at Palmview?
4.
So you 4 in Mission, 4 at Palmview, and then from Palmview, where do you go?
From Palmview, man, I went to Donna. I mean, I don't live too far away from Palmview High School, but I think that like let me tell you something, really. The longer you coach, the longer you start seeing things. It's like, wait a second, you're giving other coaches preferential treatment, and they never win. You know what I mean? They never win, but you're gonna give them, for example, AC class, like ISS. So you're gonna take care of them, even though they're not winning, because they're somebody's son, somebody's niece. So you know what I mean. So it's kind of like if they would have just took care of me, I would have stayed there, and by now we would have had to stay a lot more than just.
You're talking about what? Palmview right now?
Palmview, yeah, Palmview. But Donna came after me, and I really didn't want to go to Donna, and my wife definitely did not want me to go to Donna because I was a mile and a half away.
Yeah.
That's
a great gig. You were so close.
Man, it was like right there,
Yeah.
But they came after me pretty hard, man. I mean, they hadn't won anything, they hadn't won anything, and I was just very upset at Palmview because I had a hell of a cross-country team, and I really honestly thought we're gonna get worst case scenario and as a team third
Okay.
team. We had a big dog. We had Ivan Villanueva, a big dog, and then everybody else behind. Everybody was like no more than 40 seconds behind him. So think about it. He got 10th, right?
Yeah.
So 40 seconds behind him. That's a team state medal.
Yeah.
How many people get that? So man, I was pissed when they let us. They didn't let us leave the day before. Well, we were to leave on a Thursday.
So when do you guys run? On Friday?
On Saturday morning.
Saturday morning you run. So you wanted to leave on Thursday evening.
Thursday evening, be there Thursday evening, sleep Friday, right?
Right.
Friday, relax, run the course, and then sleep. Everybody goes to sleep 10 o'clock, 9:30, have a meeting. I go to bed and wake up nice and fresh.
Yeah.
And go to the course, which that didn't happen. So I have no idea.
When did you end up leaving?
We ended up leaving at 11 o'clock, almost 11 o'clock.
Friday,
in a bus.
Friday night?
Friday, 11 o'clock in the morning, in a bus that drives 50 miles an hour all the way to North Austin, Round Rock. Oh, actually, Actually, not even Round Rock. We ended up being on Ben White, on Catelamar. I mean, we were way out there because we were not the ones that set the hotels.
Yeah, the hotel. So you left. So you slept. You got there on a Friday night.
No, we got there Saturday morning at 1 o'clock in the morning. Yeah, Saturday morning. Remember,
You're
we're in a
running
bus.
on Saturday morning.
Exactly. We got there at 1 o'clock in the morning, 1:30 in the morning. By the time we go there, shower and then we had 3 teams in the bus, man. 3 teams. We had La Jolla High, we had Juarez Lincoln, and then us. I mean,
Was this like you're talking about a state run?
championship like that.
This isn't like a preseason.
No, this is not a no, this is the state championship, man. This is all the marbles on the table.
Yeah.
Everybody's best.
Man, I bet.
There.
Okay, so were you the only coach that was upset, or all 3 of you upset?
All 3 of us were upset. All 3 of us were upset. Okay, so my kids, we're freaking focused. We're focused, right. And then you take 10, 7 run. So there's 3 on my side, 3 on their side, 3 that are going to be screwing around me because they know they don't have to worry about running.
Right. Yeah.
And then imagine it's all packed. I mean, what the hell was that AD thinking?
I don't know. I don't know how cross country works. So I don't have an opinion of that. But I do know, man, it's got to be tough getting there at 1 a.m. and running at 9, 10 in the morning.
9, 10 o'clock, 8 or 9, yeah. And because you got to be there an hour and a half before or more, 2 hours before, because then the line is long and you got to wait in line. Oh, man, it was ridiculous.
You know what? Actually, I had a situation happen 2 or 3 years ago with powerlifting. And it so happened that I knew the dad that was posting on Facebook, which I had planned on bringing him live on this podcast as well, but we're going to talk about Marines. My man, Freddie Lopez, his daughter, who's at UTSA now, he had a similar situation about he was begging for charter buses, but then I spoke to some coaches, and it's more of, and I think you would have liked this. This is I don't know how you guys do it at Donna North now, is the coaches decide, like, no, I want my own van. I'll take my team. I drive. Yeah. We take off, and that's it. And most coaches, and I spoke to some coaches about it, and like, we like that system because we get to drive. So whenever we have to go places, it's a lot easier instead of, I got to talk to the bus driver for the charter bus. And where are we going? Instead of just, hey, get on the van and vámonos. But I don't know. Do you guys do anything like that now?
Well, I mean, I think Donna has a way better system. Yeah, Donna, ISD has a way better system. And I was really happy about it, because I didn't have to be dealing with no bullshit, I was really happy about it because they're like, Coach, get your rental. So what do you mean? I mean, dude, I'm coming from La Jolla ISD, where it is almost, check this out. So we're going to go to state, right? Check this out.
Right. Okay.
And our per diem, every kid gets $5 for food, 5 for breakfast, 5 for lunch, and 5 for dinner.
So $15
in Austin, Texas. You tell me, where are you gonna eat, and what are you gonna eat?
No, but McDonald's. I don't know. I mean, $15 is kind of expensive nowadays.
You tell me where exactly. Where are you gonna eat?
Whataburger's like $6-7. Whataburger $7.
Here. What about over there?
I don't know.
You see what I mean?
But I see what you're saying.
Where are we gonna eat? You know what we have to do? I had to pay out of my pocket so those kids could eat something. I had to pay all the time. I had to find. So my stipend was just partially for them, because I'm not going to allow them not to eat. It's not going to happen.
So obviously you disagreed with the per diem, and I think by that number you're giving me, most people would. But of course, I mean, I'm not in that situation, but that's tough. $15.
Yeah, I mean, Yeah, you might be able to get away with it in the Rio Grande Valley, right?
Yeah.
But over there, nobody knows you, nobody cares about you. You got to pay. So I
Let
would.
me. Isaac Gracias watching Big Man Chuck.
What's up, Chuck A?
So let me ask him, how much is a per diem at, because he's at Eagle Pass, his meals for kids. Let's ask him.
Yeah,
I don't know, but yeah, man. So that was
$5.
at that cross country meet that Palmview when you took off when Palmview.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, when the Donna ISD AD came to me at the time, and he told me everything, is like, what the hell? It doesn't make. I mean, our per diem in here in the valley, right? Back then, it's been almost 10 years. It was $7 in the Rio Grande Valley. $7 per meal. Yeah,
$21 a day. $21 a day.
$21 a day.
Yeah.
3 meals. Yeah. Imagine. So it's like, okay, and then they would give us a little extra, on top of that. And I'm like, and then I could rent my hotel. Like, I could pick the hotel. Man,
This is at Donna.
our administrators picked the whole. They said now, our administrators in La Jolla picked their hotel almost in purpose. I mean, I'm telling you, we were in Ben White. That tanga te la madre Ben White. By the time you come around and get back on the expressway all the way to Round Rock, it just didn't make sense. And then and on top of other things that didn't make sense, and I'm like, oh man,
Hey, check it out. Chuck just responded. $15 for one meal.
You see, that's what I'm talking about.
$15 for one meal.
Yeah. So what
That's
I'm
not bad.
what I'm,
$15 for one meal.
instead of imagine for $5.
No, but that's a big difference.
Like, chinga, pues vas a comer tú, güey. And this is what I propose. Okay, this is what I proposed. The person in charge at the time, I said, Coach, when we go to the playoffs, it cannot be. I have to use the word playoffs. It cannot be the same $5 per diem. It just can't, especially out of the Rio Grande Valley.
Yeah.
Everything's going to be more expensive. Right. So, increase it by a little bit. Increase it by 5% or something. Nada. So it's like, so when they told me all this stuff over there in Donna, I'm like going, what? So and I talked about also inventory. Inventory. And Basilio, you can order whatever you want. I'm like, what do you mean? Whatever you want. I'm like, damn it. I mean, talk about being in the dark in La Jolla, Palmview, and I feel bad for all those coaches that have had to bite the bullet, for that. But over there, man, I tell you what, it was a different story, Rudy. Different story, night and day.
Yeah. I know. I mean, me personally, the only comment I can make on that is going into the PE job that I have now. It's we have a nice budget to make sure that that we have enough equipment for each sport. But that's at the junior high level. I can't compare apples to oranges the way I'm not in the same boat you're in. So we don't have state and stuff like that. But I can only imagine because there's sometimes when you're like, man, as a coach. I think as a coach, you always want to reward the kids and pay and give them food and give them nice equipment, nice gear. I know as a referee, tell you what. So I'm refereeing, right? I referee basketball, high school basketball. And I'm refereeing at Sherryland Pioneer. And then, so, everywhere I go, I like to ask, hey, guys, how much is your stipend?
Yeah.
And they give me the stipend. It's not much.
Yeah.
And then the guy goes, yeah, but. And I said, man, that's not much, compared to, I tell him I'm a coach at La Jolla SD and we get paid fairly well. He goes, yeah, but one of the problems we have here is we don't know what to do with the money they give us for the kids' gear. The guy goes, we have so many outfits, because there's so much money allotted to their uniforms and the equipment. I'm like, oh, okay, cool, man. And I said, well, that's good.
Wow.
As a taxpayer, you want to hear those things because your money is being spent on the kids,
my daughter was over here. Yeah, my daughter was over here. One of the middle schools over here, and I would ask the coach, "Hey, coach, what's this, man? You know, what? This is the uniform." He goes, "Chinga, cuchito, that's all we got, man. No nos dan nada." And I'm like, "Are you serious, coach? This uniform has been here forever, man, and you don't have anything else?
Yeah.
That's all we got." I mean, that was back when she was in school, and that's one of the reasons I just got her out. I just took her with me. I didn't want to. You know what? I didn't want to. You know, because ultimately, school boards decide, and they hire and fire.
Yeah.
And when they hire somebody, they're hiring somebody that's gonna affect kids' lives. You know, they're gonna affect livelihoods.
Yeah.
And when they hire the wrong person or the right person, then it affects. And let me tell you, I know. I think her last year, she was a freshman at Palmview, and I remember going to watch her. And Coach Ochoa was a coach, great guy, man. And I remember told her, "Okay, I'm gonna follow you. I'm gonna follow you to, you know, I mean, I was out of practice already, so I'm gonna follow her to wherever they're gonna eat." And I was thinking to myself, like, "No, man, she," and I asked Coach, I asked Camila, "Where are we going? Where are you guys gonna go eat?" And she's like, "We're gonna go to Applebee's." Ah, ching now, Applebee's. And I'm like, and then I went to Coach Ochoa and I say, "Coach Ochoa, is she pulling my leg? She says that you guys are going to Applebee's." "No, man, we just give each other a laugh, like, yeah, man, it's changed."
Yeah.
We couldn't even go to Whataburger.
Well, yeah, I got to go to Applebee's a few times this past year, so things are changing, man. You know, I guess for the good. I mean, like I
Thank
said,
God.
I just came into the gig 2-3 years ago, and I don't have anything but good things to say. In my experience as a coach, you know, the stipends are pretty good. The budget is pretty good from my end, right? From like I said, junior high. But I mean, you lived it, so that's good to know, and
Hey,
it's good to take
you're
that into
talking about,
consideration.
hey, you know, state rings,
Yeah,
over 20 of them.
yeah.
I'm gonna cover up for anybody.
So let me see. So you go to Donna, and of course, probably should have done a little bit better, according to your experience. So you go to Donna, and then from Donna you end up at Donna North.
Yeah, from Donna High. So Donna High, when I was in Donna, check this out. So when I left Palmview High School, we had just won a district title. We had just gone to states.
Yeah.
And when the AD came after me from Donna High, Donna ISD, Donna High, because there was only one Donna at the time.
Right.
I'm like, I don't really, man, are you serious? I'm gonna leave these guys? These guys are like, we're gonna go back.
Yeah.
I mean, we're stacked. And I'm like, shit. And he's like, "Coach, man, this guy delivered everything he said." And I'm like, "I don't really want to go over there." I said, "Chinga." So I said, man, that AD painted a pretty picture for me, and the guy delivered. Donna ISD delivered everything on their promise. I mean, it was like, wow.
Well,
I mean,
so what I'm curious about is, I know I'm no AD or anything, but I'm always thinking in a leadership kind of way.
Yeah.
And I always like stealing ideas. So give me a run through, because you already, you know, shared the little horror story you had there, bad experience with Palmview.
yeah.
What are some of the good things that they do there in Donna that people in the valley or in the Laredo or whatever it is that can learn from things that they're doing well there that you like there in Donna?
Well, I mean, honestly, Donna, honestly, they take care of their kids. Yeah, there's a little bickering between the, you know, the political parties or this and that, but they never bring it out to the open, and they never, you know, and one of the things, they don't stand for chismes. You know, if they hear something, they're gonna bring you in and they're gonna ask, "Hey, tell me about this."
Let me hear your side of the story or what?
Yeah, exactly. And in Palmview, I mean, they hear something and you're guilty. It's like, "What? Wait, cálmate, güey. How do you make you?" And sometimes you don't even know what they're saying because you're like what? So I'll give you a story. uh, uh, when I was in Palmview, another horror story in Palmview, um, the athletic director came up to me and said that supposedly I was drunk, you know, that I was drunk, that I was been drinking there at the regional meet, track meet, and I'm like, that I was drinking drinking like what, like Coca-Cola, I didn't know what he was talking about. So he said he was going to investigate. I'm like, going, coach, you're going to need a real good investigator, And anyways, so se quedó así, and then finally, I would ask them about 2 weeks later, hey coach, ¿cómo va la investigation? And so the bottom line is this, Rudy, that I don't drink. Okay, I drink water, I drink a Coke, and very seldomly will you see me with a beer in my hand.
Right.
And if you do, that means I'm around very good people that are going to take care of me, and I am very controlled. So that's one of the things, el chisme, instead of coming to me and telling me, hey, coach, how do we do here? And I'm like, oh yeah, coach. And then asking, like, coach, this is what I heard, but I want to hear your side. No, guilty. Guilty. Like, what are you talking about, coach? And I'm like, so in Donna, they're going to bring you in, they're going to ask you, and you're going to say, and I'm going to, very easily, I was going to say, you want to drug test me? Whatever you want to do, I don't care. And I would have been, sure, let's do it. But they've never accused me of anything. You know what I mean? You're not guilty until proven guilty. And in Palmview, while I was there, I was guilty, right off the bat. And that was very uncomfortable. That was not very good, And so I didn't appreciate that. So, all this shit was piling up, all this shit was piling up. It was just like, man, si no me quieres aquí, no me dime, güey, that's it. No big deal. But I think God intervened, and that's when Donna. So one of the good things they do over there is, they're not gonna, they're gonna pull you in. Manny Moreno will pull me in and ask me something, or Ralph will pull me in and ask me something. Yeah, coach, there you go, and here you go.
I'm glad you mentioned that, coach. You're cutting off. Something's wrong with your internet. Give me a sec. He'll come back. Don't worry. I got plenty of stories. Give me a second. Let me just get my. I'm drinking some Rio Vida. This is antioxidants and some immune system support. He'll be back. Yeah, don't worry. Give him about. There he is. He's back.
Back.
There you go, coach. You're back. No worries.
Yeah. Yeah. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was gonna say that. Well, I'm glad you shared the story. So I because part of the question, because see, part of these questions that I'm asking, or like the reason I want to get your kind of the resume. One, you're very successful, and we haven't even touched on your training approach. That's like a whole other 30-minute segment, right? But we have time.
A long time. Yeah.
Yeah, we have time. But my thing is, you're so successful in every single school you go to, and that's where I was headed with. Why are you leaving all these schools? And of course, right now, I guess for Palmview, I think we already got it because, you were uncomfortable, the leadership, you didn't like the leadership,
at all,
whatever it might be. But what about everything else? Why did you leave Valley View? Why did you leave Mission?
So Valley View was great. I mean, Valley View was another place that it was awesome. But my daughter, Brianna, was really small, and they really weren't giving me because I would have to go there at like 5:30 in the morning. And I was leaving, and I was coming back home real late from basketball. So Brianna was like maybe 3 years old, and man, I wasn't seeing her, and I'm like, Chinga. So and we were barely married, we're newlyweds. And so I said, Chinga madre. So then I took a pay cut, a $40,000 pay cut in 4 years, $10,000 pay cut to come to Mission, and that's why I went over there. Now, why I leave Mission? Because man, I got a huge increase of pay to come to Palmview. Right. But let me tell you something. The guy that approached me to go to Palmview was not the athletic director. It was not him. It was the soup that in charge at the time, which was Mr. Oresti. He's the one that approached me, and he's the one that said, "Coach, come over here." And I'm like, "Man, I don't know." And I'm like, well, my wife was like, "Hey, ya perdimos mucho dinero en Mission," and then in Mission, the equipment budget, oh my God, freaking horrible. We could have had a car wash and made more money, So that was pretty bad. But it's changed. I know there's new leadership in Mission, and I've heard it's good, and I've heard good things, and so that is great. I'm happy for every coach that's there, man.
Yeah. I know Gilpin got a good deal once Detmer came in.
Oh, yeah.
Detmer, not Detmer. What's his name? Was it Detmer?
Detmer, right? Yeah.
So they had to pay him money, so Gilpin had to get matched up with that. So that was good for him.
Yeah.
I heard that story. So then, so family issues, I feel you on the whole 3-year-old thing because I remember
small.
I checked this out. So I go to UTSA, I learn a bunch of stuff there. I pursue my master's at Indiana State. I learn a bunch of stuff because I'm part of the scouting team with the girls basketball team, right? So I get to, I learn offensive sets, coaching styles. I'm at the collegiate practices, so that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Then I go to Loyola. I'm friends with the basketball players there, the basketball coaches. I'm friends with the strength and conditioning coaches. So I'm learning and I'm learning and I'm learning. I'm learning these things. And then my brother is a coach, and I'm like, man, this guy's making more money than me. He gets all these breaks, and I'm stuck in my office when I could be hooping at open gym or taking the summer off. So then I make my decision to come back. I come back, I get hired, Well, actually, I end up at UTSA again working there while I'm working on my teacher certification. I come back, and, me and my wife are already dating at the time. I told her, look, you have to understand, coming back, my goal is to be a varsity head coach. Varsity, I need to be a varsity head coach within 4 years. I'm going to take a gig. But I started at the junior high level, right? And then Montalvo leaves, I applied for that job. The girls coach leaves, I applied for that job. I applied for 4 or 5 different titles, assistant head coaches. But, God had, and I believe, I'm not very big into religion and stuff like that, but I believe there's a plan. And because of my kids being born, and I've always been able to spend time with them during junior high.
Yeah.
I could never go back to high school because I get more time, and the pay is not it's not enough for me to sacrifice for my family. You're saying, you came back to be with your kids, and it's funny because every time I mention that story, to the officials that I work with, I'm like, nah, man. They ask me, hey, what do you do? I'm like, I'm a junior high coach. And they ask, would you ever want to go to high school? I'm like, I did when I got here. Now that I have my family, I don't because I want to spend time with them. And all the guys that are ex-head coaches or varsity coaches are like, that's the best thing you can do.
Yeah.
That's the one thing I regret the most. Well, that's what they tell me. That I didn't get to spend enough time with my kids because I was doing all this varsity stuff and family. I wish I could take that back because time is something you don't get back. So I guess you did pretty good, man. I commend you on that because I'm in the same boat right now.
Yeah, I took a $10,000 pay cut, but I tell you what, it's memories are great. And then when I left there, I came to Palmview. But man, I don't know, man. And I'm not the only one that feels that way. I know people aren't going to say it because they want to be, they don't want to be on anybody's bad side. But you know what? I mean, it was like. I'm not gonna be one of those that's gonna be quiet. Of course I'm not gonna be out there fighting with anybody but I'm gonna make my voice heard. And I'm like, and if I don't like it, you have the option to leave, And at the time, like you said, I believe highly in God. God has a plan for all of us. Yeah. And I was really fed up. I was really, really fed up. I was like, man, as a leader of your school, principal, school board member, athletic coordinator, athletic director, mayor, blah, blah, blah. Your job is to empower the rest. That's your job. Empower us. Right. But if you don't do that, and everybody's just like, "Chinga, here he comes again," and they're like, "Oh, oh, here she comes again. Oh, here they come again." Then you're not empowering anybody, man. You're just getting in the way of success.
Yeah.
So once they came to me, they offered me no teaching. I didn't have to teach. I said, wait a second. I didn't have to teach. I didn't have to worry about roll call. I didn't have to worry about grades. All I had to do is go one AC class, ISS, and then focus on winning. They told me all we want you is focus on winning, and they paid me a little more than what I was getting at Palmview, and I'm like, Rudy, how are you going to say no to that?
No, I mean, it's hard. That's a good gig.
You're not going to. I'd be a fool to say no.
Your daily quality of life is perfect. It's perfect.
There's no stress.
Worry about what you want to worry about, which is winning and training the kids.
And nobody came around telling me, "Oh no, nobody came around." They just and one of the things that you'll learn, Rudy, you'll learn this. Right now, you're young, and one of the things I did tell the AD, one of them, because he asked me, "What do you need, Coach?" I said, "Well, equipment, money. What can I order? How much is my equipment?" And then you know what they told me? It's open for you, whatever you want. I said, "Are you sure? Whatever I want, whatever you want." So what if it's 10 grand? We'll give you 10 grand. Like, okay. And then the other one, and I told him, what do you need from us, Coach? You know what I said, Rudy? I said this: leave me alone. Let me work. And he looks at me like, what? Leave me alone. Let me work. The results will come in. Yeah. Don't worry. You can bank on that because I'm not here to lose. Yeah. And right off the bat, we go to race against Palmview, my old team, because we're in the same district. Like, well, my luck, right?
Yeah.
So the year prior, because they made a realignment, right?
Okay.
And I think they made a realignment. And they were the same district.
No,
but
they were already there. I think
they were already there.
They were already
there. Donna was almost dead ass last. They were last as a team. They were last place, and they were the same kids coming back. They had la madre, how do we do this? So then I'm leaving my Palmview boys, and I'm going, oh man, that's gonna hurt. So as soon as I got to Donna, first day of practice, the ex-head coach, assistant coach, tells me, oh, we've been doing this way, blah, blah, blah. And I said, Coach, no respect, but it hasn't worked. Let's do it my way right now because Palmview is loaded. And all the kids are like, how you doing, guys? Doing them. Coach Mendoza. We can have a meeting, Coach? Yeah, but we're going to have a meeting on the run. So what does that mean? Vamos a correr. You guys are going to run. We're all going to run, and we're going to talk. And they're like looking at me like, you're going to run with us? So, yeah, I'm going to run with you. And they couldn't believe that I was going to run with them. And at the end of 7 miles, they were all huffing and puffing. I'm like, are you guys okay? They're like, man, we never had somebody actually run with us, a coach. So that's the way it was. We come to district in Palmview, valiendo madre, right? In Palmview against my ex-team. And what do? We win the district title. We beat them. It was like, what? The biggest upset of all time. And then that same year, as a freshman, Vince Castillo goes to state. The following year, wins the state championship. And then I go to Donna North, Yeah. And I don't know if you want to tell me about how I went to Donna North.
Well, yeah, go ahead. How did you end up over there?
Well, the way that worked is they ended up getting 5 coaches that went up there to check it out, and none of them wanted. Everybody declined. And they're pretty good coaches, and they all declined. I'm like, wow, why would they decline?
It's a nice campus. I've officiated basketball there. It's a nice campus.
Beautiful campus, man.
Yeah.
And so they all declined, and then the AD looks at me like, well, Basilio, what do you think of Donna North? And I'm like, I don't know. I'm fine because, we had something going. We were starting to grind, And I'm like, pues vamos a ganar state aquí, And he's like, oh, well. So anyways, we won the state championship the second year, and he's kind of pushing it on me and like, well, you know what, Coach, let me go check it out. So I go check it out. I drive around, and just like everybody did. I drive around. I come back, and I say, Coach, I'll take it. You're going to give it to me? I'll take it. head boys cross country and track. He's like, okay, you got it. Nobody else wants it. I said, okay. And then he asked me, why would you take it? You know, I'm like, and well, no, why would you take it? And what would the other, how come the other coaches didn't take it? This is the reason I think the other coaches didn't take it. Friends of mine that I know, they didn't take it because they were looking at homes instead of looking at terrain. You know, I was looking at canals. I was looking at running ground. Do we have somewhere to run? Because in Donna, we're in the middle of the city. There's nowhere to run.
Right.
There, we had canals going, stretching up for 7 miles one way, cross, another 7 miles this way. A lot of running room everywhere.
I've been in that area.
Yeah, so there's a lot of canals, and I mean, there's a lot of poor homes, but that doesn't mean anything. That doesn't mean that the kid is not going to run better than another kid, you know? And that's why I left over there, you know? They gave me the option, so I took off over there. And that's looks like that'll be my last stop.
So you're going to retire there?
Well, I was going to retire already, but this COVID-19, man, mandó a la donut.
Man, I think we're all in the same boat with COVID-19. We all had certain plans, and it's interesting.
Yeah.
Donna, no, so man, so of all these schools, you basically went to state in every single one of them, huh?
Yeah, we almost won state in every single one of them.
Man, that's a pretty impressive resume you got there.
The worst one was third place.
Wait, so okay, so I guess we know you've been to state. You left schools for different reasons. Some schools are better than others, in your opinion. What makes
no,
so
that's a fact.
Okay, what makes you so successful?
I think.
Do you recruit?
Okay, so that's that. Yeah, people blame me for recruiting, you know, and I think at first it used to bother me, Rudy. It used to bother me that people would say I recruit, you know, because I have coaches that would say, well, you know, they don't really tell me in my face, but behind my back, he recruits, la fregada. I'm like, you name me one fucking kid I recruited. I can give you a list of every single kid that zoned to my school, you know. Yes, I coached Michael Guerrero from La Jolla ISD. La Jolla High School. I was in Palmview, right? Mm-hmm. He was zoned to Palmview. He never ran for Palmview. He ran in La Jolla, right? I had another one that Campos. He ran in Hidalgo. He never came to Donna or Mission. Trisha Terry, she was in McAllen Memorial. She never came over here. I ran with Starla Garcia on the weekends, and she just qualified for the U.S. trials. I never told her to come to Donna North or Donna or Mission or wherever I was at the time. I had kids from little schools, coming, you know, from 2As and 2A schools coming to train with us. I never told them to come over here. La Sara coming over here to train with us. Never told him that. Vince Castillo, who was in Donna High when I went to Donna North, I could have told him, Vince, come this way.
Yeah.
I never did. I don't believe in that. I think that's chicken shit coaching, you know?
Right. And
some coaches, because they carry the Bible, because they talk to you real nicely and stuff, puro pedo, you know? So I think my thing, the reason they say that is because, very simple, they're just being out coached. Right. Period. That's it. It's insecure. Right now we're go ahead. Yeah. So right now we have all this COVID-19 stuff. We've had it's BMR. So Basilio Mendoza running. So I've been coaching about 50, 60 kids. They're from all ages, from all schools. None of them are being told to come to Donna, to Mission or Donna, or you stay in your school, you know. We have kids from we have some kids from competing schools. stay there, and I tell parents, don't do that. It's going to be a mess for you, and I sure as hell don't want to look like I'm recruiting. Yeah. So I think it's just their insecurity. They're being uncoached. And if you as a coach were that good, then they wouldn't come to me.
I will concur with that. See, I'm a fan, and I've learned to tone it down. I've learned to turn to where I call it. It was a team name once for one of my flag football teams. I called it humble arrogance. There's got to be some arrogance about you because you in your mind, like you said earlier, you train your kids to when they're going to go compete. Well, I'm going to beat all of you. I'm going to beat all of you, or we're going to beat them. Yeah. Now, whether you beat them or not, that's at the end result. But in your mind, you got to be a little bit arrogant and say, I'm going to get them. I'm going to beat everybody here. Now, but you don't go off and taunting, No. And I think when I came down here, there's this, I think the swag, the personality, and that, I mean, I will have to give you this, Coach. My experience with you was very positive in the sense that you're very motivated. You're very motivational, and I think everybody that's gone through you, for the most part, has the same thing to say, is that, man, there's just something about you that it goes off with students, and you're very motivational, and kids want to run, want to compete. I hated running 2-3 miles, but hey, you asked me to go run, I go run, right? And that's my thing is, there's got to be some kind of cockiness, arrogance, or just be confident about what you do. And that's very confident. You make, for example, you started Basilio Mendoza running, or BMR, right? But I started the Mendezville sports training, and I don't do it with intent to recruit anybody. I just want to train kids to be fast. Right? Exactly. Because I have my kids, and I know I've been to 2 summer track programs, and one was really good, and the other one was not so good for the 3, 4, 5-year-olds. So I said, you know what? What am I doing? I know how to train speed. I might as well do it myself, so my kids get the best benefit. But like you said, recruiting. So let me give you this. I'm gonna give you this example, because I know for a fact this happened. There's a basketball coach. He moves to a new school, gets players that are not zoned to that district, and all of a sudden changes the program around. Is that considered? To me, I'm like, dude, they're not from there. They're not from, don't get me wrong. Yes, you won. You won. Granted, no one can take that away from anyone. You won. But if you're not winning, or if you are winning with kids that are not zoned to you, dirty, you cannot be the same. To me personally, you cannot be the same. Like, oh, I'm a greatest coach. Hey, relax. You're not in the same situation as other coaches that had to deal with whatever they got.
There's some, everybody knows there's some schools here that shine all the time, but where are those kids from, man? I mean, you go to, you could hide them a little bit here and there. I mean, it is within the rules, though. It is within the rules that parents can take their kids anywhere they want because of all this open enrollment. But they can't be recruited. I'll give you an example. There's a certain school, I'm not going to say any, but there's a certain schools, and there's one in particular that you look at them, and then there's like 6 African-American kids in the same school, in the same team, at the same time. Like, ¿de dónde vienen? Where are they from? No, and they're all like 6'3", 6'5", and all of a sudden there's a kid that's another kid that's Anglo, and he looks, that guy looks like freaking Thor. And I don't remember his name ever coming up in a junior high meet, or I don't ever remember him. And after track season, he's gone. It's like, ¿qué pasó? And so it's kind of like, shouldn't that coach be embarrassed? That's it. To me, that's so pathetic to be, popping your collar for something that was really not your doing. I'll give you an example. I go to all these schools and we still win. How many times can a kid How many times can a coach recruit? Come on. But then
Yeah.
you go from one school, no vales madre, you're not a very good coach. All of a sudden, your record for 3 or 4 years has been horrible. All of a sudden, you go to another school where you got some talent. All of a sudden, chinga, where are these kids from? And all of a sudden, you start winning. And I'm like, I mean, everybody knows that coach is cheating, but they want to be politically correct and rah rah rah. Yeah, but since they recruited those kids, guess what? Those are 5 families that don't get to see their sons compete.
Yeah.
Because they took their spots.
And the counter argument to that is, you're not breaking any rules.
You are. If you're recruiting, that's breaking rules.
No, but because here's what's going on, and I know this from the junior high and from what I'm seeing. Check this out. First, let me touch base on let me write it down so I won't forget. So first is the whole non-recruit. Well, no, let me start with the parents first. So it's parents are getting smart nowadays because now there's travel ball in elementary and for basketball at least. For elementary and junior high. So what's going on now is that these parents are all getting together and say, where are we all going to send our kids that play on this travel team?
Yeah.
So they all together say, well, we'll just drop off our kids, right down the street. Like let's say in Edinburgh or a PSJ or a McAllen, where the schools are kind of close to each other. It's no big deal if you have the means for it. So parents say, okay, we're all going to stay together and we're going to take our kids. Let's say, I don't even want to say a school because, some people might get mad. But let's say Mendezville ISD. You send them to Mendezville High School, right? And that's what parents are doing now, right?
Yeah.
And like you say, recruiting is illegal, but parents are getting together nowadays and doing it on their own. My thing with that, well, go ahead.
Go ahead.
My thing with that is, like I said, they're not breaking any rules. It's just you're establishing residency. But with that said, it's like back in our era, 95, 98, 97, we had a very stacked basketball teams, very stacked football teams. Yeah. Then if you're going to be that stacked because of pampering you and they're all getting together and doing it, then me, and I said it this with when Juan Arevalo was here, I think it was, is then my expectation should be, boy, I expect you at the state tournament.
Yeah.
I expect you at the state tournament because you're stacked.
Yeah.
None of this first round and you're losing to the Laredos.
Yeah.
Year in, year out, come on, man. Or you're losing to the Bronzos, or you're losing to Corpus. I know my friend Petey, he coaches over at Laredo. I forgot what Laredo it is, but man, that guy, and he likes to run a gun the way you used to back in the day.
Yeah.
And the guy goes 2-3 rounds deep every year, 4 rounds deep.
Yeah.
But of course, that's the expectation. It just depends.
Yeah. Yeah. I think even though, because somehow in there the coach will drop a dime on the family, So let's say and then they'll go ahead and he'll go to a little basketball game. Hey, how you doing? Yeah, he'll drop a little dime in there. He'll talk to him a little bit, kind of, and even like that, Rudy, like you say, they still lose, man. I mean. Man, make the freaking Final Four for God's sake, If you're going to recruit,
Wait, Coach, hold on, Coach. You're paused. Let me get you off the screen, and let me bring you back in. Hold on. All right, Pate.
You can hear me. Can you hear me?
Yeah, there you go. You're good. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, so even like that, Rudy, they don't go that far. They check it in at the checkpoint.
I mean, it's like I said.
It's pretty sad.
And my thing is, if you're gonna, hold yourself to high standards, be honest about the fact that you have kids that aren't yours.
Exactly. And put their address on the back,
Yeah, and that's fine. Like I said, that's fine. You're not breaking any rules. It's like the whole red shirting when parents hold their kids back. Well, you're not breaking any rules there either. But at the same time, your expectations should be a little bit higher. But that's a totally different thing in the playoffs and stuff like that. But I'm glad you touched that on recruiting because I'm sure some coaches say that you recruit.
Oh yeah, I mean what else can they say? They're getting beat. The thing is, some of these people don't like to get beat because I have been going to great schools, like great academias, And they say, oh, Donna, like when we beat Sherryland in the mile relay with Vince Castillo, oh my God, all hell broke loose. Oh, there's no way. I think they were more hurt that we beat them on a relay that we're Donna than they got beat. Because if Harlingen would have beat them, oh, that's okay. It was Harlingen. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like, how did Donna beat us? Oh my God. You know? So so we beat them fair and square. And there goes the track coach crying, you know. Can you cheat it? I mean, how do you cheat in a freaking track meet when it's going around and everybody's watching? How do you cheat?
Well, yeah, I guess so.
Yeah. I mean, you know, how do you cheat? So I think it's just, and hey, you know what? Facts are facts. Their opinion is their opinion. But the facts are, I'll look you up, see what you did all these years, and then you look me up and see what I did all these years, and let's put our resumes next to each other. Se acabó el pedo.
So what is it that you do differently than everyone else?
I think the biggest thing is, and I saw one time I saw a coach when I was, man, I don't even want to say this school. It was the most pathetic show I've ever seen. I mean, this one coach was begging this kid not to leave football, begging him, grabbing him from the hand, don't, and we need you, and no, come on. And it was a twin, you know, and the twin was, and some of the football players were watching him, and they were just like, they had this disgust look at him, and I looked at him like, you're on your freaking knees, way, you know, you're on your knees begging one kid when you have 65 kids that are willing to go fight for you.
Right.
And he's over there. No, I'm like, after that day, I lost all respect for that coach. And he's still coaching, and he's coaching football. And no respect for him. Anyways, so I think what I do different is I'm very fair with everybody. Everybody is equal. If you really want to be great, all you got to do is listen. Listen, show up. And I remember I had a little kid, and we had just came from state, I think, and we were about to eat, and one of the guys, that one of my best runners, he asked for two burgers, and I'm like, I thought, well, no, get it. And then our manager comes over, sir, only the state champions can get two burgers, or I'm like, were you hungry or what? See, sir, I'm hungry. You want two burgers? Yeah, but I didn't want to ask because I thought it was only for. No, aquí todos son igual. Everybody's the same. You want two burgers? Get two burgers. Oh, thank you, coach. So in my teams, everybody knows everybody's going to be treated the same regardless if you won a state championship, have the course record of the state course, or you are on the freshman team. That's one. The other one is I go all out. What does that mean? I take my kids all over the country, you know, all over the country. They pay little to nothing. So we go all the way to Colorado. We go to California. We go to Arizona. We go to, I mean, you name it, Rudy.
Wait, but when do you
we
do
take
that?
them.
I've seen you on Facebook when you even sent them over there to California where that movie's from. What's that place called?
Oh, yeah, that was Gridiron.
But the name, the town, the name of the movie is what's it called?
McFarland, USA.
McFarland. I've been there. I've been to McFarland.
Yeah, we were there 2 years in a row. We hung out because my kids were telling me. Go ahead.
You do that through the school, or who do you do that through?
No. We do it alone. We fundraise, barbecue plates, car washes, sell this, sell that, and that's the way we go there. Because I know my kids saw the movie, and when they were watching the movie, they started crying. You know,
really?
They started crying. I looked at them, and they started crying, and I'm like, man, and I'm like, so what's up? And then they look, coach, that's us, right? And I'm like, that's pretty much us, you know. And when I was in Donna North, and I'm like, yeah, pretty much. And then I'm like, you guys want to go over there? And they're like, let's go, coach, because they know that if I tell them we're gonna go to New York, we're gonna go to New York. Like they know I don't bullshit, you know.
Right.
So when I told them that, they were like, let's go. And I took them. I took like 40 of them, you know, and we hung out with McFarland USA, you know. All of them were there. We hung out with them. It was fun. They had a blast. We had a blast. I got to meet Mr. White, the coach. very instrumental about McFarland, and we had a blast. And then we went back another year, and then the following year we went to Glendale, California. We were in the Hollywood sign, Hollywood Boulevard, the whole deal. We went to Sequoia National Forest. Man, you name it, Rudy, we take them.
That's pretty neat, man.
Yeah, you gotta. That's been my life. It's part of my life, and it's, all the kids really appreciate the fact that I go out of my way and do try to encourage them. And then of course the training is also very different. The training is very different. It's scientifically based. A lot of coaches, they don't get it, man. All these coaches that talk all this shit really don't understand what they're doing. I'll give you an example. A coach will say, tell a kid, and get this, I know you've heard it, we're going to go 75%. And I'll say look at him like, hey, coach, let me ask you something. 75% of what? So what do you mean? We're going to go 75%? Yeah, but of what? What are you basing your 75% on? Well, I don't know. I said, well, then how do you know the kid's going 75%? What's 75% for you? Is it 75% the same for the gordito as this guy? You have no idea. So I tell him, man, coach, so then I have to educate him how you find that 75%. So, and when we're in the blocks, a lot of football coaches think they know speed because quickness and speed, two different things, quickness, speed.
Two different things.
Two different things, although coaches think it's the same thing and they know it all. No. And then, we're going to do speed workouts. I remember when I was in La Jolla, Palmview, when the ex-La Jolla coach was one of my assistants, which he didn't like. And he says, we're going to do speed. Coach, what are you going to do speed with? We're going to do 300s. Chinga. I said, coach, that's not a speed workout. That's a speed endurance workout. And, well, there's speed for us. I said, coach, it's not a speed workout. So we had a lot of clashing there with him and I. And I said, and I told him, anything above 70 meters is not considered a speed workout. And then he would run on 300, and then he would give him a minute. And I'm like, coach, they're not fully recovered. So every single 300 is going to be slower and slower and slower and slower and slower. You have to wait 5 minutes.
Yeah, you need that recovery phase for the fast twitch fibers. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like, how do you undo all this thing that some of these coaches, they never study, they don't read, they don't study, they don't go to clinics, they don't ask, So the same coach, we said, okay, we're going to do blocks, coach, because he had told me one of his things was we won, I forgot, but he said 5 district titles. He was always banging his chest on 5 district titles, something like that. And I'm one of those that I don't like to bust people's bubbles, even though I think, like district the lowest thing you can win, like you're only running against 8 teams, no mames, and I'm like, oh, okay. So finally one day he was up to here with him. And I said, coach, congratulations on the 5 district titles. But you know what, coach? I already won 5 state championships, and they're in the past. We're not going to worry about that, So we got to work with what we got now, La Jolla used to be 1 school. Now we're 3, So he kind of looked at me like, oh, this guy, But some people want to live in the past, and you can't. It's the past. Watching the first state championship was great. Watching the second one's awesome. Watching the third, okay, you got this formula going. I have this formula that I'll know where we're at. And once we get that formula going, I'll say okay. But some people don't have a formula. They just I call it APP coaching. And there are people that tell me, what is APP? Al puro pedo, APP coaching, And I'm like, oh, man. And that's why they lose in the next round, they lose because they don't know what to do. They've never been there.
Yeah.
And I think, so my approach towards running is, in cross country, is scientifically based.
Yeah, I think nowadays with the last 10 years, especially 5 years, not maybe even 10 years, the science behind the running and the speed training and strength and conditioning, it's evolved so much, and the fact that the articles are out there to learn. I know. I study every day during lunch. Boom, I'm eating lunch and I'm watching a YouTube video, or on actually what I do is on the ride to school to work and back. I do my audibles. I buy books, and I'm listening to them as I'm going to work. From different speed stuff, string stuff, and I always keep the mind fresh because, like, for example, as a matter of fact, today I picked up a new plyo that I already know I'm going to implement once we go back with this COVID thing. Ever goes back, I'm like, oh, I need to implement that because I like the way it works, the hips and the adduction, abduction, and lateral movement. But to me, I mean, you always got to be learning because you never know something new.
Yeah, you got to be learning, and sometimes, like I've been very fortunate enough to having Coach Vigil as a very good friend of mine, Dr. Joe Vigil. He is considered the world's greatest distance coach, of all time. And so I get to call him whenever I have a question or just to hang out. He's been to my house. We having breakfast and having lunch at my house, and it's great to have a mentor like that. So once I met him, my whole life changed. My whole approach changed to everything, and after I met him, I just ignored all the little people talking behind my back. I just ignored all of them. I just learned from them that they're never gonna win shit. They're gonna win little, but they're never gonna win big because they're just little people. They're just they're gonna try to destroy you behind your back little by little. And then that goes back to people actually believing all these stupidity things about other people. So I think once I met Coach Vigil, everything changed for me. I think I'm a better person. I'm a much better coach. I really enjoy everything I've been doing, and we've been winning more, because of his philosophy. And then sometimes I have breakfast, and I'm having breakfast, and there's Dina Castor sometimes, like I see her in the mornings. She's the American record holder. Or sometimes I'm having breakfast with Coach Vigil, and then Pablo Vigil, and this national champion, and this collegiate All-American. And we're having breakfast, talking, and I'm just listening, man. And I'm learning. It's a clinic,
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's always about the what's the 5 or 7 people you hang out with,
Yeah, and then a lot of these people they want to go fishing. Badass. I want to go fishing too, but I want to go fish for information to win.
No, it's speed. It's I know you're very into. It's funny because you started your running program at the same time I started mine. We think very similarly. My speed training program, I started it in June, but then COVID hit, so that was tough for me. But you're always learning, and that's why I'm doing this. That's why I'm doing this podcast. So, coaches out there can learn, and you share stories like horror stories or good stories, or
there's going to be a lot of them.
Yeah, man. And I'm hoping people out there can learn from our podcast. All right, so one thing, how we talk about being a little bit arrogant, a little bit cocky, and you have all these state titles.
Yeah.
So if you're the guy that always, you're coming in district, or you're always regionals. So what school or what coach is always in second and third place? Is there like that guy, or is there no one out there, or it always changes depending on the years?
Yeah, it changes depending on who they recruit. Yeah, you
Yeah.
know, man, it sounds bad, man, but not too long ago, man, you see a coach and you see that kid and kids within their school, tell other kids, or I mean, I know people from all, and they'll tell me like, I mean, that guy's not even from our school here, he's from somewhere else.
Yeah.
So the kids that get replaced, by, he's an
Yeah.
incoming junior or senior, and all of a sudden this kid comes in and chinga, now he takes his place. They're the ones that get pissed off, and they're the ones that start talking like,
Right.
man, that kid doesn't, not even from our school,
Yeah.
and he's here. I'm like, oh, really? Where's he from? And then they start talking like, oh, shit. And they just start spilling the beans.
Yeah.
And so it just depends. But, I had a coach one time. I told him, hey, coach, ¿qué onda con esos kids? Because he was talking shit about me. So I said, this guy, not from your school, man. I already did my homework on you. So this 4 kids don't belong to you. How come they're here? Oh, they're not. Oh, this and that, and open enrollment. Open enrollment.
Yeah, open
Oh
enrollment.
yeah, open enrollment, but they're running cross country. How about that? And I'm like, what about this one right here? And I lo agarré. What about this one right here? He's from here. He's from here. And I'm like, really? Are you sure he's from there? And yeah, I said, chinga, coach. And I look at the kid. I say, mijo, tell him how you know me. And he's like, oh, he puts his head down. He's like, Coach Mendoza knows my dad. They went to high school together, and he goes to my house. I like,
Yeah.
and he don't live in your zone, dog. He's about 20 miles away from your school.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like chinga, okay, mao. Uh, so it's so who comes in second? I mean, sometimes I've come in second or third, uh, and I mean, I'm not saying that I win all the time, but it's. I mean, there are medals, state medals. I think I did my average at state. On the podium, it's like an 88% chance that I'm going to get on the podium once I get to states. And we have all kinds of kids from all kinds of lives, different backgrounds. But I think.
All right. So how successful have you been at Donna North since you've been there?
Out of the 8 years, because it's now from 8 years being there, we've been at state 7 times. We almost
Man.
won in 2016. We almost won the state championship. We lost by a little bit to some really good kids. And then I've medaled quite a few times, So, we got our first year I was there. We medaled the state. The kid was in top 3 with 200 meters to go, and he fell like, oh man. So, yeah, so that kind of like,
Yeah.
So we've been at state, 7 or 8 years.
Man, that's not bad, man. That's actually
Hey,
very good.
what's the percentage?
Yeah, that's 7 out of 8. That's 9-7. Algo así, no? 92, 92?
Yeah, 90, very high,
Something
90%.
like that. I don't
Who
know,
can
man.
say that, Rudy?
Man, that's
Oh,
that's
not only that,
intense.
check this out, Rudy. That was 5A, right?
Okay.
We go to 6A, and we still go to state.
Oh yeah, when you got moved up.
We got moved up, still went to state. You know,
Nice.
Same kids, recruitment. So there's an AD that told me a little story. I'm not going to say his name, but there's an AD that's very kind of close, and he said that his male coach said, because he asked him, hey, so what's the difference between Coach Mendoza, he knows me personally, Basilio, and you? How come he's going to state everywhere he goes, and you can't get out of district? Told him that, man, straight up. And the guy says, well, he cheats. So then the AD, assistant AD, he's not an AD, he put him in a spot. Okay, tell me how he cheats. And hombre, lo agarró el puro pedo. So you mean to tell me he cuts across and he cheats and kids want to go with him everywhere he goes? So at least there was an AD that at least told his coaches, like, you know what, stop making excuses and just make it.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is
So
good.
what would you in the coaching world, what would you advise coaches to do to get to some of the success that you've had? Like, what are they
Uh,
missing?
I think honestly, a lot of time. Like there's a lot of coaches that. Uh, well, first of all, you have to have a great attitude. You have to be a motivator. You have to smile every day. You can't be one of those guys that, oh, I got in a fight with my wife, so I'm not going to be nice to you today. You can't be doing that. You got to be very consistent about showing up to practice all the time, every single day. You got to show up all the time. You got to be there. Because if you're not there, it's like, pues no está aquí. Like, well, I don't know, where's that? So you got to be consistent to practice all the time. You got to get them ready. And I'm not talking about just cross country, but you got to stay in contact with them all the way. Let me tell you about this COVID-19. Let's say I was a football coach, because every coach has, every coach has restraints, and we don't. We can run all year round year.
Oh, yeah,
all year
yeah,
long.
yeah. It's an individual sport. It's not a team sport. Team sports are different.
Exactly.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
so what do you do with a team sport? So with this COVID-19, what I did is I told our coordinator. I said, nah, we're not going to go in. We're not, because my freshmen, my sub varsities were going to school, but they were getting checked, and I mean there was a lot of stuff going on there, checked, and then you can only be in groups of 10, and if they go to a restroom, you got to go with them, and I'm like,
Yeah.
they couldn't get water, they couldn't get ice, they couldn't get treatment, they couldn't go inside the building. I'm like, well, why am I going to be there then with my varsity? If football is a bigger, there are more kids. So why am I going to why? So the probability of a football player getting infected with coronavirus is a lot higher than 10 kids in a CrossFit team. But let's say one kid from football gets infected. Well, guess what happens to everybody? Everybody's done.
Yeah.
So what I did, I avoided that, and I told Coach, I said, Coach, a great guy, Coach Cuevas, the new head coach in Donna North football, a great guy. I told him, Coach, we're not going to go in, man. We're not going to go in ever. Why? Because there's no point in going in. We can't get water. We can't get servers. We can't, forget it. So we're not going to go in. So let's say I was a football coach. What would I have done? Yeah. What do? Do you make an excuse, say, well, we can't meet? Well, do you think the Dallas schools are doing that? Do you think Harlan is doing that? Do you think some of those powerhouses are doing that? They're not. So what are they doing? They are getting somebody else to coach their kids. So somebody else is doing their job. And when school starts all over again, you're gonna see who the rusty ones are and who the ones that are still sharp are. Because in Dallas, man, they were practicing through all this COVID-19, and the coaches the football coaches all over the state of Texas. Well, you can't be there. I mean, you can be there, but you can't coach your kids because you have certain dates, that apply. So I think they should have found a way to. Some of them maybe did, some of them maybe didn't, and the ones that didn't, it's too late. The ones that did, good job.
Over here in Mission Vets, they had their strength and conditioning program.
Yeah, you see,
I saw it in the mornings when I would pass by there. They were going at it.
Harlingen stopped. They kept going. So I mean, and
but
that's
I think
why
that was more of a district policy and trying to err on the side of caution, play it safe. I don't know if Mission Eagles had their training or not, but I know Mission Vets, they went at it. That's 2 summers in a row that I see their program, and man, those kids show up. And I'm talking about 70, 80, 90 kids, 120.
That's great.
Dude, I posted video on it. There's a lot of kids out there, and they're all wearing their royal blue shirt with a
V.
With a V on it. Mission veterans. I mean, it's a pretty neat culture. It's pretty neat to see that, but they went at it. I don't know how many other schools or other school districts did or didn't.
Well, there's can't be no excuse.
Kenny Benoit saying that they did the strength and conditioning. So I guess The school district
Correct.
mission had their strength and conditioning. So
Yeah,
that's one
because
district.
once the football games start, no excuse is gonna work.
No, everybody's playing to win. That's
Everybody's
it.
playing to win. I
Yeah.
know. I know. There's some coaches that talk a lot of smack about how good of a, like you were saying, how good of a football coach they're doing because they're popping their collar and talking a lot of smack about other schools. And I mean, but I mean, obviously they're recruiting. What I say is come to Dunn and North and coach there and see how good you are.
No, it's a little bit different.
Right there, you have to coach,
That's the
or
equivalent
else,
of that would be the equivalent of like Juarez Lincoln socioeconomic
yeah. It's what.
situation from
So what is
students.
Lincoln and Down and North are
Similar.
very similar in socioeconomically. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And I mean, it's tough, man. It's tough to coach in those places. But you know what? If you really want to, Rudy, if you really want to be a great coach, go somewhere like that where there's nothing, where you are the engineer, you are the designer, you are the coach, you are the mentor, you are the shrink, you are the trainer, you're everything. When I was in Valley View, I was everything. And let me tell you something. Some of these school districts, especially in the Rio Grande Valley, I mean, I don't want to say this because if I was to ever become an AD, I would hire this coach. Check this out: a mental strength coach. What is wrong with having a mental strength coach? You already have a strength coach. You already have a speed coach or whatever. But what about the mind, man? The mind. You have to
That's what
capture the
that's what
mind.
that's where it all
That's me.
starts.
I capture the mind. I want to capture that kid's mind. I want that kid to go through a wall. Yeah, some kids will say, I'll go to the wall for you, coach, but they're not going to do it because they don't believe in you. But my kids, shit, if it's thundering, if it's the only time they know they don't run is when there's lightning. Other than that, they're vámonos, tennies are on, and they just look at me, and
Lace
then
it up.
they lace it up, let's go, and then they look at everybody else like, oh, they're not gonna go outside, and and
Yeah.
and there's no excuses. But if programs started uh, getting mental strength coaches, because think about it, what obstacle or what's the main thing that holds kids from being great? It's fear.
Yeah.
So how do you get over fear? How do you get over fear? Well, you get this guy, this strength, this psychologist, this mental strength coach to talk about that. And okay, let's talk about the fourth quarter. 10 seconds to go. The other team has the ball, and like put them in that situation mentally. And that's what I do with my kids. I say, we're at the state meet, we're on the line. You're there. You look right. You got the Woodlands, number 10 in the nation. You look left. You got the South Lake Carroll. They're 6'5". You're 5'5", and then you look down. You got Cinco Ranch. I'm not talking about you look right and you got another school from the you got
Oh
to put
yeah,
them in
top
that.
dogs. You're in the state
Yeah,
title. Yeah.
you got to put them in that category. And I know this past year, man, that was the worst performance I ever had at state ever. And my wife, she's my biggest critic. My wife she's kind of mean. She tells me we didn't do a very good job, and my kids they were scared. We had a JV team basically, and they come back for 2 years. So my wife looks at me after the race. So she looks at me, her hands crossed, and she's like, "That's the way you want to go out?" Oh, la madre. That's the way you want to go out? That was horrible. And I'm like, "Pues, that's it. I mean, I'm gonna retire. What do I do? I mean, I could have retired when we almost won the state championship, but it was not time." And so God put this COVID-19, and I'm back for another season, and with the same kids. Let's see how we do this time.
I got you. All right, coach. What elementary does your wife? She's a principal where?
Benson Elementary.
Benson. Okay, I thought she was a feeder school. She was at a feeder school for my Chavez Junior High, but I don't know.
No,
I thought she was at like Flores or the one
no,
that right
Benson.
EB Reina or whatever next to it. It's not
Yeah.
EB Reina. I don't know what it is.
I've been trying to convince her to retire too, but I don't get it.
Yeah, it's tough, man. I mean, and I guess it's you love the grind, man. It's as educators and the people that are in it because for the right reasons.
Yeah.
You don't want to quit. You love
Yeah.
the grind, man. You love the
Yeah.
grind. You love your job.
Yeah.
And see, that's why I was asking you earlier, like when you talk about like your success and motivating, and you got to be there, and you don't go fishing. But
You don't go fishing.
because you love to run.
Yeah, I don't.
You
I don't.
yourself like to
Yeah.
run.
That's my passion.
You know, that's your passion. So it translates to those students. And I
Yeah.
think the coaches that it's their passion and they just love to play
Yeah.
or, whatever it may be,
Yeah.
a coach like that, doesn't need to work as hard because it's in them already. Like, for example, you.
Yeah.
Tú te vas y te corres. I've
Yeah.
known you since I was a 16-year-old kid. I know Coach Mendoza loves to go run.
Yeah.
And kids that run are going to like to run for you. Right?
Yeah. Yeah. So right now I ran 6 miles before I came over here.
Yeah, I know. When we were trying to schedule the thing, you thought it was at 7. You didn't have time to
Yeah.
run. It's at 10:30.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so-
But I think the passion is, I don't see how, I mean, you're going to pay me for something I already do.
Yeah. I mean, it's
It's fine. And I've always wanted to be an AD. But then I thought about it, I feel like director and I'm like, man, do I really want to be in a bunch of meetings when I could be running and when I could be helping somebody else out, when I can be doing other things? Do I really want to be in a meeting and meetings after meetings after meetings? I'm like, man, I don't know about that,
yeah. That's tough, and you have to be politically correct and watch what you say and
Yeah,
how you
that's-
talk to someone, or they'll make the phone call.
Yeah.
Whatever it may be. And you know what? I will say this: when we're in the topic of being an AD or being a mayor or being a school board member or whatever it may be, and how you shared that you were a little bit uncomfortable when you got fed up with being at Palmview.
Yeah.
I heard there was this one coach one time told me, he goes, one time I won the district title, or we made playoffs with my girls team, and there was a school board member that me and him didn't get along. So I saw him coming up to me, and pues yo le saqué la vuelta. And he
Yeah.
was like, no, well, you know what? I don't need to shake your hand. I just won the district title or whatever he won.
Yeah.
And he went somewhere else, and he kind of ignored that person.
Oh.
And then the next year he goes, and then next year, guess what? I got fired.
Yeah. That's
And
much.
to me, the thing is, I guess I'm coming from I got so used to university setting
Yeah.
where I get, for example, board members. Board
Yeah.
members are not. They're just there to supervise.
Yeah.
Nowhere is there a job to say, well, I'm going to hire. No, you're just there to make sure no one takes advantage of the system, right?
Yeah.
And I remember I was at one university where that athletic director got fired because the basketball program, he hired 3 different coaches, and neither one of them won. So they're like, well, you can't even hire a coach. They got rid of him. Either way, my point is this. For example, you and other coaches, school board members, or maybe even a superintendent, I feel that whatever you have as an adult that you might not have a good vibe with someone, but if that person has a great vibe with the students, knows how to train them correctly, respects the students, gets the best out of them, it don't matter how you get along with them up here.
Yeah.
It's about, are they good for the students?
Yeah.
Are they good for the students? Are they good for a program? If they are,
Leave them alone.
leave them alone.
Yeah.
None
Leave
of this
'em
get, well, he was with the other political party, or
Yeah.
he said to vote for this person.
Yeah.
So what?
Yeah.
That's just a political view. Their
Yeah.
job, they're very good at their job.
Yeah.
Leave them alone. They're good
Yeah.
for the program. They're good for the district.
If I was an AD and I didn't like somebody, but they were a hell of a coach, and you know what I was going to do? I was going to take that personal view out of the way, and I'm going to empower him. Coach, good job. What do you need, coach?
Yeah.
But I'm not going to get emotionally attached and attack the coach or try to, no, you know what? My job is for kids to have a great experience.
Right.
And if this coach, let's say the coach is a little wacky or whatever, or camina weird, or it
Yeah,
doesn't matter.
personality. Their
Yeah,
personality. It's
it doesn't matter because he's doing something right or she's doing something right, and it's. I mean, they're signing scholarships left and right. They're doing a good time. All the kids have a great time, and he or she has 50, 60, 70 kids in the program. Great, and they're winning as opposed to the guy that you like, the AD likes. Oh, is sucking up, brown nosing. How you do? Hey, coach. Hey, coachito, ¿cómo está? Hey, coach. And then all of a sudden, he doesn't win. He's not winning. 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 And it's still there. I mean, why? What are they? What is the experience that kid is getting? He's getting no experience. There's no experience.
In your experience, how often does that happen because of
Very
school boards?
often.
Because of school boards?
Very often, school boards need to hire people who are capable or are competent in their area. So if you're gonna hire a basketball coach, what do you know? Am I gonna hire the competent coach, or am I gonna hire somebody that brought in 100 votes, 200 votes, 300 votes, or somebody from the community? One year, when I was, I'm not gonna mention the schools, but yeah, this is so I had a neighbor next to me, old man, un viejito, and he was next to me, and we were teaching and stuff, and then I realized this is before I coached. I realized that hey, man, this old man knows a lot about basketball. Like, chinga, he's telling me us, and then we eat lunch together and stuff, and I'm like, hey, how do you know so much about basketball? And he says, I've been a basketball my whole life. This is the first time I'm not a basketball coach. What? And then he had gone to the Final Four in the States 10 times.
Dang.
Won a state championship. Regional. I mean, this guy was full of medals, like a la man, the real deal. And I'm like, what? So then a basketball position opened up, right? So he applies. I'm like, sir, like they would be stupid not to get you. What happens? They didn't get him. Why? Because he's not from the neighborhood. He's not from the town. He's not from the city. But imagine the experience every single kid would have had underneath him. Now we never know. We don't know. We don't know why. Because they never gave him a chance. They could have given him a 1-year contract. Hey, ¿sabes qué? Valiendo madre, sácalo. Right. But they didn't give him a chance. So we don't know. But his resume was amazing. I mean, why was he not given the opportunity? So they hired somebody else that obviously also coached basketball. But you're talking, like this,
Right.
and so the only way we're gonna get away from this is the school boards start hiring. You can hire within your district, yes, you can hire, but hire people that have experience. And I'll give you an example. You for basketball, Montalvo, Kenny Benoit. I mean, played at college basketball. The guy is freaking massive. He looks like a football coach. Hire.
I think did Kenny ever work for La Jolla School District?
I think he did.
I think he was trying to come back. I'm not sure. Well, I mean, I know he's in Mission. I think there were stories that he was going to come back. I don't know. I think he's watching. That's the question, Kenny. I think. I don't know. We need you back here.
Yeah, I mean, you need kids that are passionate about what they're doing.
Hey, I'll tell you what though. Do you remember Valde Benoit?
Oh yeah,
Kenny's
Valde.
brother.
Yeah.
Hey man, and I will say it until the day I die. That guy can coach quarterbacks.
Oh, he's a hell of a quarterback.
Quarterback. I mean, I've seen him. I've been there when he teaches the quarterbacks how to throw and all this stuff. I'm like, God, I feel like I'm in the NFL, man. The guy can coach quarterbacks. And to be honest with you, I think, me personally, for the parents that are out there in the area, they need to send their kids to this guy during the summer because this guy's bad, man. I mean, he knows his stuff.
Well, just to tell you, I have a kid that I coach. He's a quarterback. I'm not sure if you ever heard of IMG, but he quarterbacks at IMG. I don't coach him for sport. I just coach him for speed. I'm just teaching him how to be faster, and he's gotten a little fast. His name is Alaric Gonzalez, quarterback IMG. I don't coach him. I don't show him how to throw the ball. None of that stuff.
Just to be
my,
fast.
My job is to make him fast. And he came in with I think it was a 5'1". He's at about a 4'7", 4'8", something right now.
5'1". How old? What grade was he in at a 5'1"?
He was a freshman. Freshman. Now he's gonna be a senior.
That's not bad. 5'1" as a freshman, it's not bad.
Yeah,
it's not
and he's
great,
6'1". Yeah, 6'1". He looks bigger than most linemen. Most linebackers. He's a big kid. He's Jesse Gonzalez's son, the attorney.
Oh, okay.
So he brought him to me because he wanted to make him faster, and mission accomplished. It would be nice if, like Balde, if he's that good of a quarterback coach. I have no idea. I've never seen him.
No, I've seen him. Hey, take my word, man.
He should put something out. Like Mendes, and then BMR should put something out. He has to do that in order for people to know he's out there.
Right. Mendes Sports Training Speed.
Mendes Sports Training.
So how old is this guy you're talking about, Gonzalez's son?
He's
gonna be a senior.
He's gonna be a senior. Yeah. So he's looking at coming back to the Rio Grande Valley. I'm not sure when or how, but man, I'm gonna tell you right now. When you see him throw the ball, you're gonna say, "I let you that." 65 yards, 70 yards. He's out there, and I tell you what, the nicest kid you can meet. Work ethics are beyond amazing.
Yeah.
Respectful, yes sir, no sir. He goes from me to another person to another person. He's todo el día he's busy. So he's Alaric Gonzalez. Look him up in IMG. Alaric Gonzalez. Alaric Gonzalez.
Alaric Gonzalez. And what's IMG?
IMG is a school. It's a private school for elite athletes.
Oh, snap.
Yeah, so that school it's a big time. They're number 3 in the nation.
Is that here in Texas?
No, it's in Florida.
Oh,
so, as a matter of fact, if you want to be a hell of a coach, you need to go over there and visit. So, Jesse Gonzalez took me over there to watch Alaric play in a football game. And we went over there, and really, otro pedo. It's a school. Now, the Valley is far, far, far behind. It's it's so far behind. There's no way. If I was an AD, that's what I would shoot for. We're gonna do that right there.
Would you say that from what you saw, the facilities are a lot better, or what?
Facilities are 1,000 times better. Yeah, the athletes cannot be wearing anything but IMG clothing. That's it. You cannot, even on campus, because they have some of the best teachers. You cannot walk around with, say, jeans. The shirt has to be blue all the time. It has to be a uniform all the time. And the only kids that are allowed to wear something different is if a kid is being sponsored by a brand. So, like some kids that wear Nike, walking around with Nike.
Out of town.
Yeah,
that's sponsored already. What?
As high schoolers, so they're walking around with a Nike outfit. So that means they're being sponsored for Nike. Can you imagine that?
What?
IMG, look it up. $70,000 to go there a year.
Oh, yeah, elite.
Elite. So I go there. Imagine how I feel when I come back.
No, pues I'm sure you're like, man, we're behind. We gotta spend some more money.
Exactly, but if they only give us $5 for meals, is that giving money? And then they have to do their meals, their cafeteria food. Man, you're talking. You add
College style, okay, like a college style lunch or what?
Yeah, college style. You want a whole pizza for yourself, made. You tell them what you want, and they make it right there. You got steaks, you got fish. None of this milk echada a perder
Yeah.
and frijoles and shit, it's just quality
Well,
food,
well, I mean, for $70,000 a year, I'm sure they can afford stuff like that. Okay, have you ever walked into Pioneer High School over there in Sherryland North? Pioneer.
Yeah, I walked in there a few years, several years back when we were in the same district, I think, or we went to a meet over there. Yeah, I walked over there.
Man,
Yeah, pretty
and I
nice.
always use this school as an example because I walked in there by accident the first time. I went to the wrong school as a referee, but you walk in and then you walk into the main and there's the main gym with the
Yeah.
bleachers, you know,
Yeah.
and then you keep walking down the hallway and then you walk in and there's 3 courts, and in the back there's 4 courts. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 5 gym basketball courts available for the volleyball coach and the basketball coaches.
And nobody's fighting.
Yeah. There's enough space for all the kids to get their reps.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
to me, I'm thinking to myself, I like sharing that story, not to knock on former school board members or former whoever that made decisions on that. It's we got to learn from something that was done pretty well.
Yeah.
And start implementing that whenever there's a new high school that comes up from whichever district that might listen to this message.
Yeah.
If you want the kids to, like you say, facilities, I'm always promoting spend the money on facilities, equipment, and uniforms for the students.
Empower people, empower the kids. You know, I know when I was in La Jolla, when we started, I don't know if Balde's still there or Kenny's there or you.
Balde's at La Jolla High School right now, coaching.
Yeah, well, check this out. I remember having to go to the basketball courts, the asphalt, blacktops, because we didn't have any courts. So we had to.
When you were coaching.
When I was coaching, we had to run to the blacktop basketball courts and practice there.
You used to go to the one right there on the freshman campus, no?
Yeah, outside.
Outside, they had some basketball courts there.
Right there, we had to practice there. Can you imagine having practice in your high school? Like,
that's not cool. That's not cool.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. I mean, like, wow. But that was when it was one school, and then they they split it up. But like if you like Sherryland Pioneer, that compared to IMG, that's a baby school. Sherryland Pioneer no tiene nada. I mean, you're talking. Check this out. You got the football practice field. I mean, it's amazing, and then you have soccer courts about a half a mile away, and they're all green. I mean, nice green, all lined up. And when it's time to go eat, guess what? I mean, they're freaking over a half mile away. Guess who picks them up? A little golf cart picks them up. They don't have to walk. They go over there,
like
pick
a
them up.
professional team, okay?
Exactly. They go all the way over there in a little golf cart that has chingos of little, like 12 people can sit in there, and then they bring them all the way to the cafeteria and then get off.
I mean, you're getting your money's worth with $70,000.
You're getting your money's worth, exactly. So imagine that in El Valley, chingado, está canijo la cosa.
Well, it seems like your coaching, man. You've done a great job coaching. You have a pretty good career, man, and I commend you on that, and I thank you for being my coach for that 1 year.
It was great, man. It was great coaching you.
My only knock on you is the fact that you played way too many players, man. You had cross-country runners. I'm like, hey, get these cross-country runners out of here, man. I'm trying to focus on my game, man. Taking away minutes. The little minutes I got, you're taking away my minutes, man.
Remember we had like 4 different groups coming in and out, coming in and out.
No, hombre, bro. No, hombre.
Well, but you know why, Rudy?
What?
Do you know why?
No.
I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to tell you why I did it. Every single kid that played came every single day. And every single kid deserved to play. And if you're on the team and you didn't quit after all those liners, after all that ass chewing out, that was a lot of liners, right? Remember that shit?
I'm laughing because Rudy Olivares earlier put a comment up there. He goes, liners.
It was a lot of liners, man.
Yeah, it was.
Chingo. We had chingo suicides. We had quinceañera. I mean, you chingo. But you guys were fit. But think about it. No, all the kids that quit, and then all the ones that stayed, every single kid played. I just didn't want for any kid to leave and say, "Pinche Coach Mendoza never played us." I didn't want. And I remember I had a kid by the name of, his last name was Treviño, un güerito. And I would have practice at 9 sometimes, and he would come real muddy. And I'm like, fuck, this kid's all muddy, like. So
Arturo, no se llama Arturo. Un güero. Era un güero, no?
Güero.
Was he a cross-country runner?
He ran a little bit, yeah.
I
Güerito,
think I know who you're talking
flaquito.
about. Sí, alto. He was about 5'10", 5'11".
Yeah.
Sí.
So I remember he'd come out muddy and stuff. And I remember one time, I would make him run liners. Oiga, sir, ¿por qué me estás haciendo correr más? And I'm like, pues ya, llegaste tarde, pues llegas todo cochino. You got mud everywhere. And I go, no, pero me voy a cambiar. Okay. And then one time, I just asked him, hey, what's the deal? And he told me, hombre, sir, es que tengo que ir a la labor a trabajar primero. Like, damn. He would go work in the fields.
Yeah.
And then sometimes run to the basketball practice. Can you imagine? I had kids running from La Homa 5-mile line to practice, and some of them would run all the way to games. I remember one time we were in Mission, and this kid, his last name is Galvan. I remember him running all the way from 5-mile line in La Homa. He ran all the way to the Mission gym and a tournament. And I remember telling the kids, "Where's Galvan? He's not here." Well, chinga, but he ain't gonna play. Chingo. So we get there in the bus, right? We get off, and he's sitting there, and I'm like, "Chinga, Galvan, what are you doing?" "Oh no, sir, I'm here." And I chewed his ass out, and then I chewed him out real bad. And then I think Ociel was the one that told me, "Hey, coach," or maybe Chucky. Somebody told me that. "Hey, coach, that guy runs from his house all the way over here, and he runs to practice through all the fields, all the way to what? He runs over all that stuff." "Yeah." "Oh shit, are you sure?" "Yeah." And then I went up to him and I said, "Galvan, did you run over here?" "Yes, sir." "Why'd you run all the way over here?" "Pues there's nobody to bring me." "You really want to play that bad, mijo?" "I love it here." Oh, wow, I freaked out. I mean, can you imagine a kid from 5-mile line all the way to Mission? You know what I did? I said, "Mijo, you're starting today." And he's like, "Oh, I'm starting." "Yes, sir." And I started him, and he had a great time. And he even I gave him the green light to throw the last ball from the half court, right before the half. I go, "Tú no me tiras, no te preocupes." Everybody set up. He threw it, he shot it, and made it. Nothing but net.
It's funny you mentioned that because I was talking to Luis Peña the other day.
Luis Peña?
Luis Peña. A great athlete, by the way. And he's one of the guys that was a basketball player and he played football.
Football, yeah.
He was a football player and played basketball.
Great three-pointer.
Yeah, he's a good athlete. He was talking to me about how he lived on 5-mile line Western. I lived in 3-mile line. And, part of that 99 team, there was a lot of cats that were from the northern miles.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes, man, and he was talking about how big a disadvantage it was to some where parents he didn't even know there was open gym till his senior year.
Oh, shit.
I was like, what? He goes, yeah, man, I didn't know there was open gym. And then he goes, and not only that, he goes, even if I would have known, I couldn't have gone. My parents were going to take me all the way to La Jolla. I lived way over here. I go, yeah, but because I remember in, what was it? When we were in the Edinburgh tournament, remember that time we went to the Great American Shootout over there in Texas?
Oh, yeah.
His mom, or I think he would drive to my house, and then from my house, I would drive to Edinburgh or wherever we were going because, the buddy system.
Yeah.
But you're talking about those disadvantages, and I'm sure at Donna North, you go into a bunch of stuff like that.
Oh, man, Donna North, I'll tell you, man, it's pretty tough. I mean, right now I have one of my big dogs up north working in the fields because they got to work, and then I have another one working as a carnicero.
Oh, yeah, man. Yeah, they all have to work.
I mean, they all have to work, and then you have like the Woodlands kids, kicking back at the madre,
They just gotta train. Those guys
the Vela kids kicking back, all this, and sometimes the parents, I don't even get to meet the parents because they're trying to survive, man. They're trying to survive. But they trust me with their kids, so thank God.
Right, which is good. All right, let's get to the how involved are you in this political stuff? Because come November, there's gonna be city elections there in Palmview,
Uh-huh.
and there's
Yeah.
gonna be school district elections in La Jolla High School. I heard that Dr. B might be running. I know Leonora Sayavera's running. Are you involved in the politics, or you just go and vote, or do you vote, or how
Uh,
does that work with you?
well, I don't. I mean, I don't really vote. Like, I consider myself apolitical. Like, I'm not really for Democrats or Republicans, or I guess more of an independent,
Right.
right? But apolitical meaning I really don't care if somebody's Republican, even though some people, Republicans and Democrats, they'll die for their party.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
it's like ridiculous. So when I choose, when I endorse somebody, if I have to make sure that those people are good people. Like, they're gonna do whatever is right for kids, for whatever we're doing, and I don't really. I'll do my homework on them, and I'll go vote. But a lot of times, what happens is, like you mentioned earlier, oh, he didn't vote for me, or she didn't vote for me, or if I didn't vote for you, it's because I don't believe in what you're doing. I don't believe in that. So if you promise something and you didn't deliver 4 years later, vámonos. You're done. You're not gonna get my votes.
Right.
And then there's the political people who want to shake your hand. I mean, what were you for 4 years, for 3 years?
Once every 4 years.
Yeah, the once every 4 year handshake, and all of a sudden they have all these, oh, hey, how you doing? And smiling and la chingay, and you're like, man, please,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm not gonna, and I just look at him and I'm like, you're not getting my votes, and then obviously, who are they hiring? The one reason I left Palmview with my daughter is because I didn't like who was in charge at the time, so we left, you know,
Right.
and she's coming up to be a senior, and I'm wondering, is anything going to change? And if it's not going to change, she's going to graduate from Donna North High School. But yeah, I don't really, with local elections, I have a couple of, I have este Perez over here at the end. He's a
Oh
pretty
yeah,
good
he's your
guy.
neighbor. Yeah, he's your
Yeah,
neighbor.
great guy. He says hello, good morning. Not only once in a while, hey coach, ¿qué onda, coach? How you doing? And uh, other people, you never run into them. Have you noticed? You never run into politicians. Isn't that weird? Or athletic directors. Have you noticed that? You never run into them and like, oye, pues no comen esto, way. Where do they live? Where do they eat? And I think that they need to do a better job of being involved with, intertwined with the community. Like, go eat at Leo's, go eat at Leo's. We get a taco Leo's, go eat at Leo's. We go to Whataburger, go to Whataburger. We go wherever the people go. It's what Coach Vigil tells me. The greatest coach in the world may say, Basilio, take me to eat where the people eat. I go, Coach, that's 5 Mile Line. You don't want to go there.
Tacos.
Is that
Delicious.
where the people eat? And I'm like, yeah, I want to go there. So lo llevé para allá. My wife was a little upset with me, and because she wanted me to take him to a fancy restaurant, but Coach is not a fancy guy. So, have you ever seen any politicians go to 5 Mile Line?
I'm sure. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe
Have
they
you?
do. Maybe they don't.
Have you?
Have I? I've never
Yeah.
seen them, but I mean, they might go at a different time. I don't know. I mean, the answer to you're asking me, have I ever seen them? The answer
Yeah.
is no. I've
There you
I've
go.
never seen them there.
Me
But
neither.
I don't know if they've ever been. Okay, so check this out. Check this out, because politics is big. It's gonna get big.
It's gonna get big, yeah.
And a few weeks ago, I went live on Facebook, and I go in my rants and political and stance and stuff like that. And I made this comment. To me, Palmview is my city.
Yeah.
Because Palmview, I relied on Palmview and the city of Palmview and the park for my benefit, because that's where I used to go hoop.
Yeah.
I lived in 3 Mile Line, Dolphin. I would drive down or take my bike, and I would go hoop at the park.
Yeah.
And I made this comment. In the past 20 years, since I left to UTSA, Indiana State, Loyola Marymount, back to UTSA, and then I come back to Palmview, I made a statement. I said, I don't think there's been that much growth and progress as I would like with a high
Yeah.
expectation.
Yeah.
How long have you lived in Palmview?
I've been here 20 years or more now because we're actually about 30 now because this is my 30th year, and so I've been 30 years. I mean, well, not 30 years because the first 5, 10 years I was in Edinburgh and Far. Sorry, I'm looking for something here,
No, go
but
ahead.
I think I've been here for quite a bit. You know, like, pues digo yo que unos. It's about to get dark. Sorry about that. I'm gonna go get my charger.
No, no, yeah, go ahead. Go. I kind of figured. I should have told you to get the charger before.
Yeah.
Because these conversations go, hey, these conversations get intense. They go quite a bit. So let me, so where I'm headed with this is, you as a resident of Palmview, what have we not done well? What have we done well? What can we do better? What do we need so the residents of Palmview can get an idea, the voters, what do the voters need to know that live there in Palmview?
Well, I tell you. I don't think you know, it's not a you don't. Hey, I'm gonna go ahead and disconnect this because I gotta connect my. I'm gonna take these off. Okay.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
I can hear you.
Okay. So I think there's really nothing going on in Palmview. You know, like there's no. How can I how can I say this? I mean, you know, the park is the same park. You know, there's no trails anywhere. I mean, we have a lot of stuff we can do, but nothing has really been done to make. You know, like if you go to let's say Edinburgh, you know, even Hidalgo, they're an all America city. You know, why are they an all America city? You know, because they got parks, everything's clean, and here, I mean, I think it improved because we had some drainage problems. It improved a little bit, you know, but it's there's nothing going on, you know. There's no buzz, you know. There's no like, hey, I'm gonna go to Palmview, you know. I think. I mean, what do you do here? There's nothing to do here, you know. So I think like as you're coming into Palmview, there's a little sign that says "Welcome to Palmview," but there's really, if you blink, it's gone, you know. So I think they need to make Palmview look better, you know, just the aesthetics of it, you know. More plant some more palm trees, you know. Like, would you plant some more palm trees? Uh, get a little centro going on, you know, like get more businesses. You know, there's no you know, there's a Whataburger, there's a Burger King, and that's about it. And then there's a
Jack in the
what is it?
Box.
Huh? Jack in the
Is it
Box.
Jack in the Box?
But what about something like a Jason's Deli? You know, like there's so many schools around here, and but there's really no park where you can say like badass, you know, like where you can take your kids. I mean, there's a park right there by Boys and Girls Club, and then there's no city 5Ks. There's no city, and I told one of the ladies there, like, hey, I wouldn't mind Rick Villarreal and we talked about doing a 5K run through the city, you know, but nada, you know, there's no art. Where's the art? Where's the culture? Where's the murals? You know, where's the brick streets? Where's the, you know, like, no, you know, there's not a very not very not a whole lot of thing here going on here. So yeah, I don't, you know, I think we can improve our city a lot better. Um, Maybe even safer. I feel it's pretty safe, but I think our police department does pretty good and stuff. But um, there's really nothing to do here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not that great. I
Yeah.
mean, you go to Edinburgh and All American City, tienen todo. There's no, not very many attractions, which can be done if they wanted to, but you know, the it's up to them. Like it would be great to have like a coffee shop or a Barnes and Noble, algo, something. Give us something. Nada.
Yeah. And I mean, I was asking you because you've been living there for a very long time. That way, I mean, I don't live there, but but to me, that was my city. How's the drainage going on right now with all that flooding? Did it affect you in any way?
Man, it was pretty. It rained pretty hard. I was a little worried about the water coming in. Yeah, okay, the whole backyard was flooded, but once the rain stopped a little bit, it drained better than usual. But they have been working on a drainage system on Brayfogle on my street,
Yeah. There's a lot of
and
construction going on there, right?
yeah, but they took a long time, man. Like chinga un año. It's like, oye, puro murero. Even if you go look in front of the one of the little elementary schools right here across on 495, across from Leo's,
Oh,
they
La Homa in front of
Oklahoma,
yeah.
they still have a mess. I mean, it's a mess. So, people can't go through. And I mean, I would imagine that's affecting those los salones de baile que tienen ahí. So, but
Oh
I
yeah, they
think
have that.
they don't ever have any. I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but they don't really have a lot of activities going on here.
Yeah.
Like,
So
there's no
so
fair. Where's the fair? There should be a fair somewhere around here.
there's a carnival that goes stops by there, no? In the Greg's Ballroom grounds, you know.
Oh no,
Sometimes.
I don't think I've ever seen it there. And I think they're gonna be doing something there, and they're gonna take down Greg Ballroom and do something there. But what is it gonna be? Yeah, I think we're just behind. I mean, that little area right there, Greg's Ballroom, could be like a badass shopping center. All the way around. Or a pool or something that uh, I don't know. We don't even have a pool. I mean, if we had a city pool, that would be awesome. And pero nada, no city pool, and I don't know. Not to me. There's nothing going on. I mean,
Right.
which is can be good too, right? You don't want it to get too crazy.
Right. So I guess your stance is that there's a lot of improvement needed. There's a lot of room for
Yeah,
improvement, I guess.
yeah. There's a lot of room for improvement. I think they can do better. They can do better.
Yeah. It gets interesting because well, it's all over Facebook and stuff like that. I'm very big into uh pues the expectations are high of leaders and stuff like that. But pues
Uh-huh.
either way, I just wanted to
Yeah,
get your 2 cents on that on you living there and what kind of thoughts you had.
yeah. I think it can definitely improve. It can be better, but of course,
Yeah.
if I guess if I sat down and I sat down since I just really work more in Donna and come back
Yeah,
and
the coaching, yeah.
yeah, so I don't get to do much. But I guess with this COVID-19, I've been seeing some stuff more because I'm stuck here. So I've
Yeah.
been like, well, like uh, our Boys and Girls Club is over there, but where's the city pool, or where's like
You know what though? It's actually not a Boys and Girls Club. It's Parks and Recreation.
oh shoot, you see, I didn't even know that. So,
Yeah, it's a
how-
Parks and Recreation.
I mean, and there's a cool cheer tumbling thing around that area.
Oh yeah, yeah.
What about the kids that can't afford it? You
Oh,
know,
I don't know.
yeah, if they can't afford it, pues chinga, but they can't go neither. Rich kids can
Wait,
go.
coach, how to? Well, yeah, I mean, politics is one thing. How is COVID? What's the deal with Donna? Are they going back to school? Are they doing virtual? What's going on there?
Everybody's doing virtual, I think.
Everybody? I
Yeah,
think the
we're
whole
all doing
valley,
virtual.
the whole state.
I just don't know the whole valley. I just don't know if us teachers have to go back.
Yeah, it's still up in the air. I don't either.
Yeah. Well, we had some teachers from Arizona doing virtual teaching,
Hmm.
and three of them got COVID, and one of them died. Virtual
What?
teaching. Yep. Virtual teaching. They weren't even teaching in kids, so
They
they
probably
got
just got
infected
sick of.
somehow.
They got
Hmm.
sick somehow from their
Yep.
interactions with other people. Man, that
Yep.
COVID is intense.
Yeah, that's you got to be careful with that crap.
But you're ready to go train. You're ready to go coach.
Oh, we've been coaching. I haven't been gone anywhere. I mean, I know people wait for the 10 days before and 15 days before. It's been 90 days. So we've been going at it. We haven't. I think in spring break when all this stuff hit, I think for about 2.5 weeks I didn't do anything, and after that I said, hey, we need to start moving, man.
Yeah.
So we started. We've been running, with this club, BMR. We've been running. No kid has got infected.
I was about to ask you,
Uh,
how's that going with the infections? No one? Everybody good?
Zero. Yeah, everybody did good. I mean, we did pretty good. I mean, all the kids had a blast. They were all being active. The parents were elated. They were very happy with everything we did, and no one got affected. But not from our group. It's not within our group, and it was really good. So I mean, we trained every single day, just about.
Yeah. Oh, man. Just good to know. Bueno, Coach, it's late 1:20. I think thank you for all the advice and all the stories. I'm sure there's a lot more, but we'll continue. Maybe have you here at another time. Anything else you'd like to add?
Pues no, if you want to be good at your craft, work on it every single day.
All right, cool, man. Hey, you have a good night, Coach.